Chapter 5470. Ji Yufei was resting in the city lord's manor of Hongmeng Divine City. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse. At this moment, the gates of the city lord's mansion's main hall were suddenly pushed open from the outside. Then, a figure stumbled into the main hall. Ji Yufei opened his eyes, and he could smell the scent of alcohol coming from the person in front of him. What is this place? That person was quite drunk. After walking into the hall, he looked around in a daze. Then, he saw Ji Yufei sitting on the throne in the middle of the hall. "Who are you? Why are you sitting on the throne?" the purple-clad young lady asked loudly as she looked at Ji Yufei on the throne. Ji Yufei frowned. Judging from the young lady's attire, she should be from the Hongmeng Divine clan. Moreover, she was a beautiful young lady. However, the drunken beauty didn't put Ji Yufei in her eyes at all. "Brat, how dare you sit on the city lord's throne? Are you tired of living? Get down here right now," the purple-clothed girl shouted at Ji Yufei, who was sitting on the throne. Ji Yufei didn't say anything. "Why aren't you getting down?" the drunken young lady said angrily. In her mind, the city lord's throne should only belong to the first ancestor of the Hongmeng Divine clan, Hong Sheng. After all, Hong Sheng wasn't only the first ancestor of the Hongmeng Divine clan, but he was also the city lord of Hongmeng Divine City. In the entire Hongmeng Divine clan, only Hong Sheng was qualified to be the city lord of Hongmeng Divine City. This little girl, Ji Yufei, was speechless. What was wrong with the people from the Hongmeng Divine clan? How could they let this little girl barge in? Didn't I say that no one is allowed in? Why? Why aren't you getting down? Do you want me to pull you down? The purple-clad young lady strode towards Ji Yufei, stood in front of Ji Yufei, and grabbed Ji Yufei's collar. Ji Yufei was a little confused. Who would dare to be disrespectful to him in this place? Especially those from the Grand Mist Divine race. Even their number one ancestor, Hong Sheng, had to be respectful and careful in front of him. He didn't even dare to let out a fart. He was really willing to sacrifice himself to drag Ji Yufei down from his throne. Of course, if this girl in purple was sober, she would never dare to be presumptuous in front of Ji Yufei. But now, she was drunk and didn't know what she was doing. The purple-clothed girl grabbed Ji Yufei's collar and pulled hard, but Ji Yufei, who was sitting on the throne, did not move at all. "Ayo, why aren't you getting down here? You've grown a lot of guts." Hong Zui was really drunk this time. She was a wine lover in the Hongmeng Divine race. She was really depressed tonight, so she barged into Hong Sheng's wine cellar and drank as much as she could. The battle between the Grand Mist Divine race and the Fire clan would begin tomorrow. Although this battle wouldn't affect the survival of the Grand Mist Divine race, it would affect the rise and fall of the Grand Mist Divine race. If they won the battle tomorrow, the Grand Mist Divine race would continue to prosper. However, if they lost, the outcome would be different. The Fire clan had been suppressed by the Grand Mist Divine race for thousands of years. In the past few hundred years, the Fire clan had holed up in the Netherseer and didn't dare to come out. If the Fire clan won the battle tomorrow, the Fire clan would be able to make a name for themselves. With Ji Yufei around, the Grand Mist Divine race wouldn't have an easy time if the Fire clan won. Right at that moment, an angry roar came from Hong Sheng's wine cellar. "Who was it? Who destroyed my immortal wine?" The patriarchs outside were trembling in fear. When Hong Zui realized that she couldn't pull Ji Yufei down with one hand, she used both hands to grab Ji Yufei's collar and tried to pull Ji Yufei down. However, Ji Yufei didn't budge an inch. Not only was Hong Zui unable to pull Ji Yufei down, but she also threw herself onto Ji Yufei's body. Ji Yufei was about to explode. He couldn't deny that Hong Zui was really beautiful. However, Hong Zui-er's entire body reeked of alcohol and her clothes were wet. Hong Zui-er threw herself onto Ji Yufei's body, drenching Ji Yufei's clothes. The smell of alcohol mixed with a delicate fragrance wafted into Ji Yufei's nose. Ji Yufei's heart couldn't help but flutter when he felt a warm and fragrant body in his arms. It wasn't that Ji Yufei didn't have any female confidants. However, apart from his wife, Yang he had never been so close to any woman before. He felt his face heat up. Ji Yufei was an old antique, but he didn't seem to have much experience in the matters between men and women. He and Yang didn't seem to have experienced many twists and turns in their relationship. Ji Yufei wanted to push Hong Zui away, but he didn't dare touch her with his hands. Ayo, little brother, why are you blushing? Hong Zui suddenly touched Ji Yufei's face as she spoke. What? Ji Yufei was depressed. This little girl had actually called him little brother. He had cultivated for countless years and was truly an old antique. Was this little girl teasing him? What are you guys doing? Suddenly, a voice was heard from the main door of the main hall. Ji Yufei looked over and saw that it was Hong Sheng. At this time, Hong Sheng was stunned by the scene in front of him. His eyes widened so much that they almost fell out of their sockets. Master! Hong Zui Hong Sheng was dumbfounded. Hurry up and pull this crazy girl away. Ji Yufei roared at Hong Sheng. Yes, yes, yes. Hong Sheng rushed forward and pulled Hong Zui away. Old ancestor? Why are you here? Old ancestor, this little brother is very cute. Hong Zui said to Hong Sheng with a drunken smile. Hong Sheng didn't dare to say a word, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. He was afraid that Ji Yufei would slap them to death in anger. In front of Ji Yufei, they were as weak as ants. At this time, Ji Yufei was speechless when he heard Hong Zui's words. Hong Sheng's heart collapsed. My little ancestor, how dare you act like a drunkard in front of master? Are you tired of living? Even if you don't want to live, I still want to live. Master, I will take my leave first. Hong Sheng said as he pulled Hong Zui out of the main hall. Ji Yufei sat on the throne and didn't say a word. No one knew what he was thinking. Little brother, I will come to play with you tomorrow. Hong Zui shouted at Ji Yufei, who was sitting on the throne. Ji Yufei's face was so gloomy that it looked like it was about to drip water. Hong Sheng was scared half to death, and his legs were trembling. He pulled Hong Zui out of the main hall. When they walked out of the main hall, they saw the ancestors of the Grand Mist Divine tribe standing outside. All the ancestors of the Grand Mist Divine race were dumbstruck by the scene that had taken place in the main hall. They were dumbstruck. Especially Hong Zui's grandfather, Hong Zhan, who almost fainted. Chapter 5471. Hong Zui was in big trouble. She dared to flirt with Ji Yufei while she was drunk. The entire city was in an uproar when the news spread. Who was Ji Yufei? He was the master of the Grand Mist Divine race. Hong Zui was audacious enough to flirt with Ji Yufei. The entire Grand Mist Divine race was terrified. If Hong Zui angered Ji Yufei, the entire Grand Mist Divine race would disappear from this world. With Ji Yufei's cultivation, annihilating the entire Grand Mist Divine race was a piece of cake. While the Primordial Chaos Divine race was once one of the 10 strongest factions in the Flame world, the Primordial Chaos Divine race was nothing in Ji Yufei's eyes. Hong Zhan was Hong Zui's grandfather. After settling Hong Zui down, he went to the main hall and knelt with a plop outside. He had come to beg for forgiveness from Ji Yufei. He had no choice but to come. If Ji Yufei really got angry, the Grand Mist Divine race wouldn't even need to fight the Fire Tribe tomorrow. Ji Yufei was still sitting on the throne in the main hall. His eyes were closed as he meditated, as though nothing had happened. However, when Hong Zui lay on top of him, a ripple of emotion rose in the depths of his heart. He wasn't angry, and he had no intention of settling the score with Hong Zui. However, since Hong Zhan was kneeling outside, Ji Yufei wouldn't be able to do anything about it if he wanted to kneel, right? If Hong Zhan, who was kneeling outside the main hall, knew what Ji Yufei was thinking, he would probably have a mental breakdown. While the entire Grand Mist Divine race was feeling uneasy, the Fire Tribe that had set up camp in the square of the Grand Mist Divine City was overjoyed. Haha, the Grand Mist Divine race is really courting death. They dared to flirt with our master. Everyone in the Yang clan rejoiced in the Yang clan's misfortune. They had been hunted by the Grand Mist Divine race for the past several hundred years. If Ji Yufei hadn't returned, the Yang clan wouldn't have left the Nether Sea. Of course, if the Death Chief Sovereign in the Netherworld Sea continued to sleep, the Flame race would still be able to survive in the Netherworld Sea. However, It was impossible for the Yang tribe to continue staying in the Netherworld Sea. This was because Death Flame Dance had awakened from her slumber. The heavens are really helping our race, an old ancestor of the flame race said excitedly. Don't be silly. Everything depends on strength. Yang Huatian said indifferently. He was very clear that the reason the Grand Mist Divine Clan was fine until now was that the Master had no intention of punishing the Grand Mist Divine Clan. Hence, the battle tomorrow was still an incomparably difficult battle. It was also a battle that would decide the fate of the Yang clan. After hearing Yang Huatian's words, the group of old ancestors of the Yang clan became silent. News of the battle between the Flame Clan and the Grand Mist Divine race spread like wildfire. This made the other major forces on the Flame Star very curious. Was the Flame Clan stronger, or was it the Grand Mist Divine race that was stronger than the Flame Clan? In fact, it was very difficult for the Flame Clan to make a comeback. The other major forces on the Flame Star weren't optimistic about the Flame Clan's chances. After all, the Flame Clan had been hunted down by the Grand Mist Divine race like stray dogs. They had even been forced to flee to the Netherworld Sea. The Netherworld Sea wasn't a good place. It was filled with the death chi of the entire Flame Star and gave birth to many incomparably powerful undead creatures. The battle between Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng in the Netherworld Sea had alarmed all the undead creatures in the Netherworld Sea. However, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng were both experts in the half-step peerless power realm. The aura that erupted from their bodies was enough to intimidate countless undead creatures. The battle between Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng had alarmed the Death Lord, Death Flame Dance, who was in a deep slumber. That kid is still in the mood to do this. Yang Wu also received the news. In the divine city of the Grand Mist Demon race, Yang Wu was the supreme ruler. Not only had she subdued the Grand Mist Demon race, but she had also subdued the Grand Mist Human race. Her subordinates were much stronger than Ji Fei. One had to know that the Grand Mist Demon race and the Grand Mist Human race were stronger than the Grand Mist Divine race and the Flame race. The Grand Mist Demon Emperor of the Grand Mist Demon race was the #1 ancestor of the Grand Mist Demon race. He had the highest seniority, cultivation base, and battle prowess in the Grand Mist Demon race. Now, this expert whose name shook the entire Flame Star was standing cautiously under the throne. He didn't even dare to raise his head, let alone look at Yang Wu. "Master, should we go and watch the show?" The Grand Mist Demon Emperor asked cautiously. "Watch the show?" Yang Wu, who was sitting on the throne, fell into deep thought. "Yeah, we can also get a feel for the Grand Mist Divine race and the Flame race," the Grand Mist Demon Emperor added. "What do I need to get a feel for?" Yang Wu was displeased. She used to be the ruler of the Flame world, and now she was one of the rulers of the Flame Star. With her cultivation base and battle prowess, who couldn't she destroy? Of course, it was impossible for her to destroy Ji Fei. One had to know that she and Ji Fei shared the same fate. If Ji Fei died, she would be buried with him. However, if she died, Ji Fei wouldn't be able to live either. Yes, yes, yes. This lowly one said something wrong. "Please punish me, Master." The Grand Mist Demon Emperor was so frightened that he fell to his knees with a thud. His body trembled uncontrollably. He wasn't pretending. He was really afraid of Yang Wu. When Yang Wu had subdued the Grand Mist Demon race, she had tortured all the ancestors of the Grand Mist Demon race, especially the Grand Mist Demon Emperor. He had been tortured miserably. "Get out. Let me have some peace and quiet," Yang Wu said indifferently. Yes, 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 the primordial Chaos Demon Emperor actually rolled out of the main hall. He was the Demon Emperor of the Flame Star, but he was acting like a lowly dog in front of Yang Wu. If others were to find out, wouldn't their eyeballs fall to the ground? It couldn't be helped. This was the tragedy of the weak. The strong could control everything about the weak, including their life and death. Especially on the Flame Star, the strong could obtain everything, while the weak couldn't even control their own lives. This was the cruel reality of the cultivation world. Yang Wu wouldn't let her subordinates do as they pleased. In fact, the Grand Mist Demon race and the Flame race could be considered lucky. They had a good master. In the Grand Mist Demon race, who would dare to offend Yang Wu? Yang Wu wasn't a human. She didn't have human emotions and apprehensions. She used to be the ruler of the flame world. She could annihilate anyone she wanted. To her, annihilating the Grand Mist demon race wasn't a big deal. At most, she would subjugate other forces. However, to the Grand Mist demon race, it was a disaster. That Jiyu Fei is really bored. Yang Wu wasn't interested in the battle between the Grand Mist demon race and the flame race. In her eyes, it was just a fight between ants. Even though she wasn't interested, it didn't mean that others weren't interested. The various forces on the Flame Star sent more spies to the Grand Mist Divine City. Soon, the Grand Mist Divine City became the focus of the various forces on the Flame Star. Time flew. For the Grand Mist Demon race and the Flame race, a long night had finally passed. Chapter 5472. There was no such thing as day and night on the Flame Star. This was because the Flame Star was located in the boundless chaos. There was no sun, moon, or stars on the Flame Star. However, there were remnants of the laws of heaven and earth operating on the Flame Star. Therefore, the Flame Star would be shrouded in darkness from time to time before it would turn bright again. The cycle of darkness and light was like the night and day of the Flame Star. Just as the Flame Star shone brightly once again, a battle stage descended from the sky and landed in the middle of the square with a loud boom. The entire square shook violently, and cracks appeared one after another on the ground around the fighting ring. The members of the Yang clan who had set up camp in the square jumped in fright. It's finally starting. The Yang clan's ancestor, Yang Huatian, walked out of his tent. The group of Yang clan's ancestors followed behind him with solemn expressions on their faces. At this time, there was a commotion outside the square. The sealed entrance to the square was opened, and Hong Sheng, the ancestor of the Yang clan, led the other ancestors into the square. There were many members of the Grand Mist Divine clan in the city, but no one was allowed to enter the square except for the high-ranking members of the Grand Mist Divine clan. Hong Sheng, you're very punctual. Yang Huatian led the Yang clan's ancestors to greet Hong Sheng. I want to send you to hell as soon as possible, so I naturally have to be punctual. Hong Sheng said coldly. Haha, why don't I send you to hell? Yang Huatian roared with laughter. Is that so? Then let's see who will have the last laugh. Hong Sheng sneered. He hadn't lived in vain all these years. However, what Hong Sheng didn't know was that Yang Huatian hadn't lived in vain all these years. There was also a divine spring of life on the flaming island in the Nether Sea. Of course, although the divine spring of life on the flaming island was just a small spring, it was just enough to provide Yang Huatian with enough spiritual energy. Therefore, Yang Huatian's cultivation base wasn't far behind Hong Sheng's. This would definitely be a fierce battle. Yang Huatian sneered and wanted to say something. However, at this moment, a figure appeared on the battle platform. Their master had arrived. Greetings, master. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng hastily led their clansmen to kneel before Jiyu Fei. Get up. Jiyu Fei stood on the battle platform with his hands clasped behind his back, looking at Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian indifferently. Yes, master. Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian stood up with their clansmen. All right, each of you send out 3 people, and then we'll begin. After saying that, Jiyu Fei disappeared from the fighting ring. When he reappeared, he was sitting on a throne, floating in the air. The people from the Flame Clan were naturally Yang Huatian, the early stage Eternal Yang Ming, and the middle stage Eternal Yang Senator Yang Sen and Yang Lian had previously fought in Yang Huatian's inner world. In the end, Yang Sen had won. As such, the representative of the Yang clan was naturally Yang Senator on the side of the primordial god race. Hong Sheng and the second old ancestor, Primordial Extermination, appeared. Primordial Extermination was an eternal expert. The other ancestors of the primordial chaos divine race also fought in Hong Sheng's inner world. In the end, Hong Du, a mid-level eternal realm expert, emerged victorious. Swish. Hong Du, the ancestor of the primordial chaos divine race, leaped onto the fighting ring. The moment he entered the fighting ring, it was as if he had entered another world. The space on the fighting ring suddenly became incomparably huge. Even an amazing expert at the half-step infinite realm could attack without any scruples here. Trash of the Yang clan, Who wants to fight me? Forget about Yang Huatian, you are our old ancestor. Hongdu shouted at the group of Yang clan old ancestors. What did you say? He's too arrogant. The Yang clan old ancestors were furious. I'll send you on your way. Yang Sen, a mid-level Eternal Realm expert, soared into the sky and landed directly on the fighting ring. When he entered the fighting ring, he was also shocked. Haha, did I hear wrong? You want to send me on my way? Hongdu laughed disdainfully. At that moment, Ji Fei, who was in the sky, watched this scene calmly. The cultivation of these two people was similar, so it would be difficult for them to determine a winner. Of course, with Ji Fei's cultivation, he could tell who was stronger at a glance. For Ji Fei, such a battle was meaningless. How boring. Ji Fei suddenly saw a purple-clothed girl hiding behind Hong Zhun. The purple-clothed girl hid behind Hong Zhun and peeked at Ji Fei. When she saw Ji Fei looking at her, she hurriedly hid behind Hong Zhun. Thinking about what happened last night, even Ji Fei felt a little uneasy. At this time, Hongdu and Yang Sen had already started fighting on the fighting ring. The people outside the fighting ring couldn't even sense a trace of Yuan Qi fluctuation. The fighting ring actually isolated all Yuan Qi fluctuations. Even the Yuan Qi of an Eternal Realm expert was isolated by the fighting ring. This shocked the people outside the fighting ring. A mid-level Eternal Realm expert against a mid-level Eternal Realm expert. Hongdu and Yang Sen fought fiercely on the fighting ring. The two were evenly matched. Soon, their clothes were dyed red with blood. Bam! Boom! Hongdu's fist landed on Yang Sen's shoulder. The sound of bones breaking immediately came from Yang Sen's shoulder. At the same time, Yang Sen kicked Hongdu's waist fiercely, sending him flying. The sound of bones breaking also came from Hongdu's body. The people outside the fighting ring were extremely nervous when they saw this scene. Haha, Hongdu is dead. Yang Ming, the old ancestor of the Yang clan, laughed. Yang Sen's combat experience was really rich. He sacrificed his right arm in exchange for a kick that broke Hongdu's spine. The moment Hongdu's spine was broken, his entire lower body was directly paralyzed. Of course, once one reached the Eternal Realm, as long as one's spirit soul remained, Hongdu could recover no matter how badly injured he was. Even if his spine was broken by Yang Sen, he could still repair it and return to his peak state. However, this would take time. Yang Sen would never allow him to repair his injured body. Kill! Yang Sen roared. The next moment, he kicked at Hongdu with all his might. Countless leg shadows suddenly appeared in the void. Damn it! Hongdu was filled with hatred. Yang Sen's move just now was too ruthless. Hongdu had actually traded his arm for his legs. Now that Hongdu's spine was broken by Yang Sen, his legs were naturally crippled. Primordial Chaos Divine Fist. Hongdu roared and punched at Yang Senator. Countless fist shadows appeared in the void and collided with Yang Sen's leg shadows. The dull sound of the collision kept ringing. Chapter 5473. The battle between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race had finally begun. The first battle was between Yang Sen and Hongdu. Both Yang Sen and Hongdu were in the mid-level Eternal Realm, and they were evenly matched. It would be difficult to determine a victor in this battle. However, no one had expected that Yang Sen would break Hongdu's spine and cripple his legs not long after they started fighting, even though his right arm was crippled. The group of Grand Mist Divine Clan's ancestors standing outside the battle stage was shocked by Huang Xiaolong's ruthlessness. Yang Sen had rich battle experience, and he knew that even if he could defeat Hongdu, it would be a Pyrrhic victory. Hence, he fought with his life on the line. Kill! Yang Sen roared as he lashed out with his legs. Countless afterimages of his legs flew towards Hongdu at breakneck speed. The afterimages of Yang Sen's kicks filled the battle stage. Grand Mist Divine Spring. Hongdu's spine had been broken by Yang Sen, and his legs were temporarily crippled. However, he still had his fists, and he threw out the Grand Mist Divine Spring. Countless afterimages of fists collided with Yang Sen's afterimages in an instant, and dense sounds of collision rang out. Origin energy exploded, and the void shook. However, when mid-level Eternal Realm origin energy exploded on the battle stage, it was completely neutralized by the power of the battle stage. Not a single strand of origin energy could be felt from the battle stage. On the battle stage, Yang Sen and Hongdu fought with their lives on the line, and blood splattered all over the battle stage. Outside the battle stage, the members of the Yang clan and Grand Mist Divine race were incomparably nervous. This battle would directly affect the future of their entire race. Jiyu Fei was probably the only one watching from the sidelines. In truth, he wasn't that concerned about the outcome of the battle between the Yang clan and Grand Mist Divine race. These two races had submitted to him, and they were his subordinates. Jiyu Fei didn't want to see the Fire clan and the Grand Mist Divine race fighting against each other. It would only weaken the two clans' overall strength. If the Yang clan and Grand Mist Divine race were to fight each other, who would help him? Bang! Boom! Two muffled sounds resounded on the battle stage. In the next moment, two figures were sent flying. Yang Sen landed on the ground, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His chest was stained with blood, and it was a ghastly sight. He slumped to the ground. The clansmen of the Yang clan were dumbfounded when they saw this. What was going on? Yang Sen was defeated. On the other side, Hongdu fell to the ground and kept coughing up blood. Let's go to hell! Yang Sen roared. In the next moment, the space between his eyebrows suddenly split open. A divine soul rushed out and pounced on Hongdu. Then, Hongdu's body exploded on the spot. That's right, exploding on the spot, destroying both his body and soul. However, a faint spiritual fluctuation did not dissipate. What infuriated the members of the Grand Mist Divine race was that the spiritual fluctuation that did not dissipate was Yang Sen's. Yang Sen did not die. Of course, even if Yang Sen, who had caused Hongdu to explode on the spot, did not die, he was half dead. Almost all of his cultivation had dissipated. At this moment, Yang Sen could be said to be crippled. For this battle, the saint of the Flame tribe. Jiyu Fei's majestic voice came down from the sky. The members of the Grand Mist Divine race clenched their fists tightly as they glared at Yang Senator. They wished they could tear Yang Sen into a million pieces. In truth, even the Yang clan's ancestors weren't optimistic about Yang Sen's chances of winning. However, no one had expected Yang Sen to be so ruthless. Not only was he ruthless to his enemies, but he was even more ruthless to himself. Even Jiyu Fei felt that Yang Sen had truly gone mad, because this was a method of mutual destruction. If he was not careful, even his own body and soul would be destroyed. However, it was obvious that Yang Sen had won. The one who had died was Hongdu, and he had survived. Of course, even though he had survived, his cultivation base had almost dissipated. His soul had almost been unable to return to his physical body. He had died along with Hongdu. In fact, Yang Sen didn't know if he could survive. However, in this battle, it was either Hongdu or Yang Sen who would die. Only one of them could live. Yang Sen won. The Yang clan's camp was in an uproar. Everyone was extremely excited. The Yang clan's first ancestor, Yang Huatian, personally stepped onto the battle stage and carried the heavily injured Yang Sen down. "You're our hero." Yang Huatian's eyes were brimming with tears of excitement. The Yang clan had been suppressed by the Grand Mist Divine race for a long time. The Yang clan's ancestors were either dead or injured. Including the first ancestor, Yang Huatian, the entire Yang clan only had 7 ancestors. The Yang clan's strength had never been weakened to this extent. The Yang clan had been stifled for too long. This battle had ignited the Yang clan's fighting spirit, and their morale soared. Moreover, the Yang clan had already won the first battle. As long as they won the second battle, they wouldn't have to fight the third battle. Once the Yang clan defeated the Grand Mist Divine race, the Yang clan would naturally be able to suppress the Grand Mist Divine race. This was extremely important to the Yang clan. Damn it! At this time, the Grand Mist Divine race's camp was filled with killing intent. Every member of the Grand Mist Divine race's eyes were bloodshot. Hongdu had actually lost. Moreover, he had lost thoroughly. To them, having their bodies and souls destroyed was the most thorough way to die. There was no other way to die more thoroughly than having one's body and soul destroyed. Jiu Fei looked at the scene coldly, but he didn't make a move. This was the grudge between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race. He wanted to resolve the grudge between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race through this battle. Yang clan's trash, who dares to fight me? The second ancestor of the Grand Mist Divine race leaped onto the battle stage and roared at the Yang clan. Hongdu's death had infuriated him. Killing intent surged from his body, and even the sky above the Grand Mist Divine City changed color. Old ancestor, let me go. Yang Ming looked at Yang Huatian and said, "No, we'll admit defeat for this match." Yang Huatian gritted his teeth as he looked at Hong Mie. Old ancestor, how can I, Yang Ming, admit defeat? I, Yang Ming, am not a coward. Yang Ming said coldly, "Don't talk nonsense with me. I want you to stay alive and make a greater contribution to the Yang clan. Don't throw away your life in vain. Do you understand?" Yang Huatian roared at Yang Ming. Hong Mie was the second ancestor of the Grand Mist Divine race. His cultivation had reached the major success stage of the Eternal Realm, whereas Yang Ming was just a low-level Eternal Realm brat. It was like a dragon in the sky and an ant on the ground. The difference was too great. If Yang Ming stepped onto the battle stage, he would definitely be killed by Hong Mie. That would be a free death. Yang Huatian didn't want the Yang clan's ancestor to die in vain. You want to admit defeat? Did I hear wrongly? Chapter 54-74. The battle between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race began in the Grand Mist City. The purpose of this battle was to resolve the grudge between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race. The battle was divided into 3 rounds. The first round was between the Yang clan's Yang Sen and the Grand Mist Divine race's Hongdu. In the end, Yang Sen, who wasn't favored to win, defeated Hongdu of the Grand Mist Divine race. Yang Sen won the first battle, and the Yang race won the first battle. The Flame clan's victory had greatly boosted their morale. On the other hand, the Grand Mist Divine race's morale had fallen to rock bottom after their ancestor, Hongdu, had been annihilated. This wasn't a good thing for the entire Grand Mist Divine race. However, when the second ancestor of the Grand Mist Divine race, Hong Mie, jumped onto the battle stage to challenge the Yang clan's ancestor, Yang Ming stepped forward and challenged Hong Mie. Hong Mie was an existence that had reached the major success stage of the Eternal Realm, while Yang Ming was only in the early stages of the Eternal Realm. The gap between their cultivation bases was too huge. If Yang Ming stepped onto the battle stage, he would be instantly killed by the second ancestor of the Grand Mist Divine race. It was no different from sending his head to the ground. How can my Yang clan's head be given away so easily? Yang Huatian immediately jumped out to stop them. Moreover, the Yang clan directly admitted defeat. The Yang clan's first ancestor had done so to protect Yang Ming. After all, the Yang clan's ancestor-level existences had one less ancestor-level existence. The entire Yang clan, including Yang Huatian, only had 7 ancestors left. Old ancestor, a warrior prefers death to humiliation, Yang Ming said agitatedly. I said no means no. Don't tell me that you dare to disobey my orders. Yang Huatian roared at Yang Ming. But, Yang Ming still wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Yang Huatian. Yang Huatian waved his hand, and the Yang clan's ancestor behind him immediately rushed forward and captured Yang Ming. What's going on? The surrounding experts of the Grand Mist Divine race were dumbfounded. Were the Yang clan's lunatics fighting amongst themselves? Without any suspense, Yang Ming was captured by the Yang clan's old ancestors and was escorted away. We admit defeat, Yang Huatian shouted at Hong Mie on the battle stage. You bunch of timid fellows. Hong Mie was infuriated. Since the other party had admitted defeat, he wouldn't be able to continue fighting. However, the Flame race and the Grand Mist race had fought to a draw. Therefore, the battle between Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng was extremely important. At this moment, Hong Mie jumped off the platform unwillingly. Yang Huatian, you win. Hong Mie stared at Yang Huatian and spoke while gnashing his teeth. No matter how ruthless I am not as ruthless as you. Yang Huatian sneered. Cut the crap. Yang Huatian, one of us will die today. Come. Let's fight. After saying that, Hong Sheng rushed to the fighting platform. Ji Fei, who was watching from high up in the sky, was also a little surprised. The Yang clan actually admitted defeat in the second match. This Yang Huatian is very smart. TSK, who's afraid of who? Yang Huatian took a step forward and appeared in the fighting ring. He stood opposite Hong Sheng. Hong Sheng didn't say anything. He just threw a punch at Yang Huatian. The two half-step Boundless Realm experts finally started fighting. Everyone was extremely nervous because this battle would determine the status of the Yang clan and the Chaos Divine clan in the eyes of their master, Ji Fei. The Yang clan and the Chaos Divine clan couldn't afford to lose. On the Flame Star, Ji Fei was an invincible existence. If the Yang clan and the Chaos Divine clan wanted to survive on the Flame Star, they had to rely on Ji Fei. Otherwise, Ji Fei could exterminate their clans if he was unhappy. Die! Yang Huatian roared and also threw a punch. Boom! The two fists collided and released a strong wave of vital qi. This wave of vital qi was a combination of Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng's power. Naturally, it was much stronger than the two of them. However, under the impact of this mighty force, the battle platform did not budge at all. All the mighty force was instantly absorbed by the battle platform, and there was not a single Yuan Qi wave that could be transmitted out of the battle platform. The sleeves on Yang Huatian's and Hong Sheng's arms were instantly shattered and turned into dust. Not even a fragment was left behind. The two figures separated in an instant, but they instantly rushed together and started fighting again. The two great experts moved quickly on the fighting platform. Their figures were everywhere on the fighting platform. Muffled sounds of collisions were heard from the fighting platform. It was extremely shocking and resounded throughout the city. At this time, the square was dead silent. Everyone, regardless of whether it was the Yang clan or the Chaos Divine clan, was extremely nervous. This battle was too important. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng were both half-step Boundless Realm experts. Only one of them could survive. If Yang Huatian died, the Yang clan would be finished. However, if Hong Sheng died in Yang Huatian's hands, the Chaos Divine clan would be finished. This was because Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng both represented the ultimate strength of these two experts. Before this battle, Ji Fei had already said that he would give the two powerhouses from the Yang clan and the Hongmeng divine race a chance to settle their grudges. Hence, he wouldn't help either Yang Huatian or Hong Sheng. In this battle, Ji Fei would not care about Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian's life or death. Boom! A loud noise suddenly resounded on the fighting platform. In the next moment, the two figures separated again and faced each other. The afterimages around them disappeared. Have you warmed up enough? Yang Huatian stared at Hong Sheng and sneered. Humph, I didn't expect you to be busy all these years. Hong Sheng stared coldly at Yang Huatian. Yang Huatian could cultivate in a place like the Nether Sea. This guy was really amazing. The Nether Sea on the Flame Star was a place where endless death qi gathered. After countless living beings died in the Flame World, a huge Nether Sea was formed. That was where the Death Flame dance slept. Hong Sheng naturally admired Yang Huatian for being able to cultivate in such a perilous land of death. Hong Sheng did not know that there was a small divine spring of life on the Flame Island in the Nether Sea. Cut the crap. Today, either you or I die, Yang Huatian said angrily. Very well. You and I have fought for countless years. Very good. You and I have fought for countless years. It's time to put an end to this. As Hong Sheng spoke, an even more powerful wave of energy erupted from his body. Die. Yang Huatian did not waste any more time talking to Hong Sheng. With a roar, he stomped on the ground and disappeared from his original spot. Chaos Sky opening palm, Hong Sheng no longer held back. He attacked with all his might, and an extremely powerful force erupted from his hands. The void seemed to be torn apart by his hands, and countless pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the void in front of him. 10 suns disrupting the universe. Yang Huatian roared. In the next moment, 10 balls of fire appeared on the fighting platform. They were like 10 divine suns that appeared in the void and shattered the void. Chapter 5475. In the Hongmeng Divine City of the Hongmeng Divine Clan, The scene that unfolded on the huge battle platform shocked everyone. It was too shocking. 10 balls of divine fire rose from the battle platform like 10 divine suns rising into the sky, as if they were going to break through the heavens. At the same time, a huge hand descended from the sky and grabbed the 10 suns. 2 extremely powerful half-step boundless realm powers were exploding. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng no longer held back. They used all of their trump cards. Boom! With an earth-shattering boom, the primordial giant hand that descended from the sky directly collided with the 10 divine suns that soared into the sky. The two forces instantly erupted with the most powerful energy fluctuations. The people from the Yang clan and the Hong Meng divine clan who were watching the battle around the battle platform were shocked and hurriedly retreated. It should be known that this was a storm of energy produced by a half-step infinite realm expert. Once affected, even an existence at the peak of the eternal realm would be instantly destroyed. As long as this storm rushed out of the battle platform, even if it was just a slight fluctuation of energy, it could directly kill any existence in the eternal realm. A half-step infinite realm expert was that powerful. The next moment, the violent energy spread in all directions. However, this powerful energy was still blocked by the power of the battle platform. All the energy was dissolved by the battle platform and not a single trace leaked out. Everyone outside the battle platform was shocked to the extreme because the mighty energy from the battle platform was all restrained within the scope of the battle platform. Everyone was shocked for a moment. At this time, a dazzling divine light burst out of the battle platform. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng's figures disappeared in the divine light. Everyone outside the battle platform could not open their eyes. Only Ji Yufei, who was in the sky, could see the situation on the battle platform. On the battle platform, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng's bodies were bursting with divine light. The two of them were fighting desperately. Even their spiritual souls rushed out of their bodies and fought in the void. Terrifying destructive power kept erupting. Soon, horrible wounds appeared on the bodies of Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng, and their spiritual souls gradually dimmed. If this went on, these two fellows would probably perish together. In this way, Ji Yufei was a little unhappy. If these two guys were to die, who would do things for him? Half-step infinite peak experts were the strongest experts on the Flame Star. If he didn't have a single half-step infinite peak expert under his command, he would definitely be laughed at by Yang Wu. After all, Yang Wu had subjugated a number of superpowers on the Flame Star. Bam! Boom! 2 muffled sounds rang out in the fighting ring. Then, the divine light on the fighting ring suddenly disappeared. 2 figures flew backwards and fell directly onto the fighting ring. There were bloodstains all over the stage. Both Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng could no longer stand up. Everyone below the fighting ring was dumbfounded by this scene. The winner has been decided. The second ancestor of the Grand Mist divine race said in a trembling voice. This was because the auras of Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng, who had fallen on the fighting platform, were very weak. Everyone was extremely nervous, and among those present, the one who was the least nervous was Ji Yufei, because he already knew the result of this battle. The result of this battle could only be described in one word: both sides have lost. It was impossible to determine a victor. At the end of the battle, there was only one result, and that was mutual destruction. Can you still fight? If the two of you can no longer fight, then I will announce that this duel will end in a draw. Ji Yufei's voice came from the sky. What, a draw? The people of the Yang clan and the Grand Mist divine race were dumbfounded. A draw? What's going on? Master, I can still fight. Yang Huatian struggled to sit up. There were 3 bloody holes in his chest that were continuously bleeding. He was so weak that he couldn't even stand up. On the other side of the fighting ring, Hong Sheng also sat up. The injuries on Hong Sheng's body were terrifying. He wanted to stand up, but he failed after a few struggles. How can you fight in this state? Ji Yufei said angrily. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng shivered when they saw Ji Yufei's anger. They didn't dare to say anything. That's it. This battle is a draw, Ji Yufei said as he disappeared into the void. You two bastards, come and see me when you can move. Ji Yufei's voice came from the direction of the city lord's mansion. Yes, master. Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian lowered their heads dejectedly. No one had expected the battle between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine Race to end like this. The crowd around the fighting platform didn't disperse for a long time. The ancestors of the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine Race rushed to the battle platform to rescue their respective ancestors. The battle seemed to be a draw, but the Grand Mist Divine Race had suffered a huge loss. In the first battle, the Yang clan's ancestor Yang Sen had killed the Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestor Hong Du. In the second battle, the Yang clan had admitted defeat. In the third battle, both Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng had suffered heavy losses. However, no one from the Yang clan had died, while the Grand Mist Divine Race had lost an ancestor. Hong Du's death was a huge loss for the Grand Mist Divine Race. After all, Hong Du was a mid-level Eternal Realm expert. Although the battle between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine Race ended in a draw, the morale of the Grand Mist Divine Race was extremely low. When the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine Race left the battle platform, it soared into the sky and disappeared into the void. Ji Yufei kept the battle platform. The Yang clan set up camp in the square, and the entrances to the square were sealed by the Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestors. If the entrances to the square weren't sealed, the Grand Mist Divine Race's clansmen would rush into the square and fight to the death with the Yang clan. How would the Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestors dare to let their clansmen enter the square and fight to the death with the Yang clan? That was openly going against their master, Ji Yufei. Who would dare to go against Ji Yufei now? That was simply courting death. Several hours later, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng knelt in front of Ji Yufei's throne. In the City Lord's Manor's main hall, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng carefully lay on the ground and didn't dare to raise their heads. After several hours of recuperation, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng had recovered some of their strength, especially Hong Sheng. The Grand Mist Divine Race controlled the divine spring of life in the city. The wounds on Hong Sheng's body had basically disappeared. Yang Huatian was in a much more miserable state because he didn't have the divine spring of life. His aura was much weaker than Hong Sheng's. What do you think about the outcome of this battle? Ji Yufei, who was sitting on the throne, looked down at Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng. Chapter 5476. The battle between the Flame Clan and the Grand Mist Clan ended in a draw. This was something that no one had expected. Even the Flame Clan and the Grand Mist Clan were dumbfounded. However, Ji Yufei was still very satisfied with this result. After all, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng did not have to die. This way, he would have 2 half-step Supreme Primes as his subordinates. The lives of the Flame Race and Grand Mist Race's ancestors were in Ji Yufei's hands. The stronger these fellows were, the more advantageous it was to Ji Yufei. At this time, in the main hall of the City Lord's Manor, Ji Yufei sat on the throne and looked down at the 2 fellows lying on the floor in front of the throne. Do you have any objections to the result of this duel? Ji Yufei asked directly. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng were startled when they heard that. All kinds of thoughts flashed through their minds. Why did their master ask that? For a time, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng didn't know how to answer. If you don't say anything, it means that you have no objections. Ji Yufei said indifferently. Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng were terrified, and cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. This was because the consequences of saying the wrong thing could be very serious. Alright, since that's the case, I'll announce that the Grand Mist Divine Clan's territory will still belong to the Grand Mist Divine Clan. As for the Yang Clan's territory, I'll find another place to settle you all down. Ji Yufei said. Thank you, Master, Yang Huatian hurriedly said. Hong Sheng heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Ji Yufei's words. Fortunately, Ji Yufei wanted to find another place for the Yang clan. If he had given a portion of the Grand Mist Divine Race's territory to the Yang clan, the Grand Mist Divine Race would have suffered a huge loss. That's it, all of you can leave. Ji Yufei waved his hand impatiently. Yes, Master, Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng said hurriedly. Then, they stood up from the ground and were about to leave the hall. Wait. Ji Yufei suddenly stopped them. Is there anything else, Master? Yang Huatian said in a low voice. I don't want to see the Flame Clan and the Grand Mist Divine race fighting again. Do you understand? Ji Yufei said in a deep voice. Yes, Master, I understand. Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian hurriedly said. Ian, get out of here. Ji Yufei said. Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian hurriedly left the hall. The enmity between the Yang clan and the Grand Mist Divine race was written off. Anyone who dared to provoke a war between the two clans was courting death. Ji Yufei left the Hongmeng Divine City and returned to the space left behind by Holy Master Void Sky. As he stood in the void of this side of the world, a wave of infinite powers will spread out from his body, instantly enveloping the entire world. That is, all of a sudden, Ji Yufei sensed something strange. With a single thought, he appeared in the sky above this place. This was a valley. Ji Yufei discovered that this valley was actually sealed by layers of arrays. Even Ji Yufei couldn't see the scene inside the valley. An unbounded level seal? Ji Yufei was a little curious. There was no doubt that the person who sealed this valley was that bastard, Holy Master Void Sky. Holy Master Void Sky definitely wouldn't seal a valley for no reason. Ji Yufei was very curious about what exactly was sealed in this valley. Without hesitation, Ji Yufei stretched out his finger and swiped at the bottom of the valley. A huge crack immediately appeared in the layers of seals. Powerful auras rushed out from the crack. This, Ji Yufei was shocked. In the next moment, his figure disappeared in the void. When he reappeared, he was already inside the valley. When he saw the scene inside the valley, he was a little dumbfounded. He saw that there were actually many powerful figures imprisoned in the valley. He saw a huge, black-armored beast the size of a small mountain being chained to a stone pillar. The chaotic aura around this beast was extremely powerful. This was actually a chaos beast that was born from the chaos. This was the first time that Ji Yufei had seen such a beast. After sensing Ji Yufei's presence, the chaos beast that was chained to the stone pillar started to struggle. The sound of the chains colliding broke the silence in the valley. This chaos beast was extremely ferocious. Its body was covered in thick scales, and there were 2 horns on its head. Its blood-red eyes were staring at Ji Yufei fiercely. Not far away from this chaos barbaric bull was another chaotic creature. This chaotic creature was a black jiao, the chaos black jiao dragon. Ji Yufei looked over and saw that there were actually dozens of chaos beasts imprisoned in the valley. These chaos beasts were all extremely powerful. The chaos beasts that were chosen by Holy Master Void Sky and imprisoned here were naturally not ordinary. The weaker chaos beasts had probably been killed by Holy Master Void Sky a long time ago. Where did that crazy old man Void Sky capture so many chaos beasts and imprison them here? Seeing this scene, Ji Yufei couldn't help but be dumbfounded. The weakest of the chaos beasts here was at the Eternal Realm, while the strongest was at the half-step Infinite Prime Realm. If the chaos beasts imprisoned in this valley were released, the entire Flame Star would be destroyed. This group of chaos beasts could definitely sweep the entire Flame Star. Hey! You're not Void Sky. Who are you? At this moment, an extremely old voice suddenly sounded in Ji Yufei's mind. Hey! With a thought, Ji Yufei disappeared into the void again. When he reappeared, he was already in the deepest part of the valley. Ji Yufei was immediately startled by the scene in front of him. There was a bronze pillar in front of him, and there was a person hanging on it. It was a skinny old man. The old man's hair was very long, reaching the ground from his head. It was several feet long. The 2 sides of the old man's shoulder blades were directly pierced by huge iron hooks. The old man was hung on the bronze pillar, swaying slightly in the mountain wind. Little guy, who are you? Where is that despicable Void Sky? The old voice from before resounded in Ji Yufei's mind once more. At this moment, the old man, whose shoulder blades were pierced by the iron hooks, slowly raised his head. His sharp eyes looked at Ji Yufei through the white hair in front of him. Ji Yufei couldn't sense the slightest fluctuation of primal qi from this mysterious old man. This old man seemed like an ordinary old man. However, Ji Yufei was very clear that an ordinary old man would never be sealed here by Holy Master Void Sky. Moreover, this was the deepest part of the valley. The deepest part of the valley was usually the place where the strongest and most terrifying existences were imprisoned. Could it be that this old man was the strongest and most terrifying existence among all the powerful beings imprisoned here? Chapter 5477. There was actually a mysterious place in the world that sacred Lord Void Sky had left behind. It was a valley. If one didn't try to sense it, even Gu Fei wouldn't be able to sense its existence. One had to admit that sacred Lord Void Sky was very strong. Her abilities were far above Gu Fei's. Gu Fei knew that even if his cultivation had reached the late stages of the unbounded realm, he still wouldn't be able to beat that old bastard sacred Lord Void Sky. Gu Fei was still brooding over the fact that sacred Lord Void Sky didn't care about his life or death and used him to break the barrier of the unbounded realm. That old bastard was too much of a bastard. That old bastard sacred Lord Void Sky had imprisoned dozens of beings of the chaotic world in this valley. In the deepest part of the valley, there was a skinny old man. This old man was too pitiful. 2 metal hooks had pierced through his shoulder blades and he was hung on a bronze pillar. When a gust of wind blew, the old man would sway with the wind. "Little guy, don't just stare at me. I'm not a fairy. You'd better put me down first." The old man on the bronze pillar said. "Put you down? Sure. Tell me who you are first." Gu Fei had been screwed over by sacred Lord Void Sky. At this moment, apart from Yang Wu, who shared the same fate as him, he wouldn't easily trust anyone else. "Little fellow, you're very cautious," the old man said. "Tell me, who are you?" Gu Fei looked at the old man with a solemn expression. "Ari, it's been too long. I almost can't remember my own name. Someone seems to call me Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky." The old man sighed. "Another Sacred Lord. What's your relationship with that old bastard Void Sky?" Gu Fei asked. What relationship do I have with him? He's my enemy, my biggest enemy. I want to tear him to pieces." Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky said angrily. "That's true. If you weren't that old bastard Void Sky's enemy, you wouldn't be able to enjoy such treatment here." Gu Fei nodded and said, "Little guy, you should put me down first. It's very uncomfortable hanging like this, you know?" The old man said anxiously. "All right." Gu Fei was not afraid that this guy would cause trouble. He waved his right hand and a sword light immediately rushed out from his hand. Clang! Clang! Sparks flew everywhere, and the 2 iron hooks hooked onto the old man's shoulder blades were immediately cut off by the sword light. The old man directly fell from the sky. "Catch me!" the old man shouted. Gu Fei did not move at all. He had no intention of catching the old man. Bam! The old man fell from the sky, face down, and smashed into the ground. When Gu Fei saw this scene, he was speechless. Although this guy's shoulder blade was pierced by the iron hook, he shouldn't have no cultivation at all. However, this guy actually fell so hard, which surprised Gu Fei a little. It seemed that his cultivation was sealed, and he couldn't even use a little bit of it. "Aya, damn, my nose is crooked. Why didn't you catch me, little guy?" The old man stood up from the ground, cursing. A stream of blood flowed from his nose. "Damn it, there's blood. It's a bloody disaster." The old man touched his nose and looked down. He couldn't help but scream when he saw blood on his hand. "I say, old man, I've already put you down. Don't pretend to be a fool in front of me." Gu Fei stared at the old man coldly. "Pretend to be a fool? Who in this world is qualified to make me pretend to be a fool?" The old man patted the dust off his body and said, "What's your relationship with that old bastard Void Sky?" Gu Fei continued to ask. "Sigh, it's a long story," the old man sighed. "I have plenty of time. Tell me about it," Gu Fei said with a smile. The old man was startled. Was this little guy going to get to the bottom of it? It seemed like he had to tell this little guy about his history. "All right, it's like this." The old man started telling stories. It turned out that in an ancient era, 2 great geniuses appeared in the limitless realm. These 2 geniuses were actually brothers. The junior brother was called Void Sky, and the senior brother was called Chaotic Sky. Later on, these two brothers made a name for themselves in the limitless realm. One became Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky, while the other was called Sacred Lord Void Sky. Later on, these two brothers accidentally entered a dangerous place in the limitless realm and actually left the limitless realm. In the beginning, these two brothers supported each other and roamed the heavens together. But later on, Sacred Master Void Sky actually wanted to steal Sacred Master Chaotic Sky's cultivation. She wanted to combine the power of two Sacred Masters and break through the world barrier of the limitless realm. Thus, one day, Sacred Lord Void Sky ambushed his senior brother, Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky was then imprisoned here by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Sacred Lord Void Sky would come here every once in a while to absorb Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky's cultivation. This was also the reason why Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky was so weak. After countless years, Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky's cultivation had been almost completely absorbed by Sacred Lord Void Sky. If Gu Fei hadn't come, he would have only been able to last for a few tens of thousands of years before his cultivation would have been completely absorbed by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Sigh, another person who was tricked by that old bastard Void Sky. However, that old bastard Void Sky is really ruthless. He even tricked his senior brother. Gu Fei never would have thought that this skinny guy was Sacred Lord Void Sky's senior brother. His background was boundless. Damn. That guy is an ungrateful wretch. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky roared angrily. Unfortunately, your enemy, old bastard Void Sky, has already returned to the limitless realm. Gu Fei said. What? Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky was shocked, angry, and hateful when he heard this. That guy actually successfully returned to the limitless realm? The heavens were really blind. Then, Senior, what do you plan to do next? Gu Fei looked at the elder with a smile that wasn't a smile. What plans can I have? Do you think I'll chase him into the limitless realm? Of course, I'll return to the void realm first. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky said angrily. What? You know how to return to the void realm? Hearing this, Gu Fei was instantly overjoyed. Why do you think that shameless Void Sky didn't kill me? That's because I know the way back. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky laughed coldly. They had also left the Void Realm and arrived here. Sacred Lord Void Sky didn't know the way back, but Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky did. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky had left a backup plan in the Void Realm. Of course, the Elder said smugly. Alright, if you can help me return to the Void Realm, I'll help you recover some of your cultivation. How about it? Gu Fei said after thinking for a moment. He would first go back and settle the score with Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone and the others. Back then, he had been forced onto the teleportation array by Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. How could he swallow this? Chapter 5478. Gu Fei hadn't expected Sacred Lord Void Sky to be so ruthless. That old bastard had imprisoned his senior brother and continuously devoured his senior brother's cultivation. Sacred Lord Void Sky was too ruthless. Of course, if that old bastard wasn't ruthless, he wouldn't have gotten himself into such a miserable state. When Gu Fei thought about how he had almost been killed by Sacred Lord Void Sky, he almost went crazy. If he hadn't cultivated the Heaven Ascension secret technique, he would have been dead by now. The senior brother of Sacred Lord Shu Tian was naturally extremely powerful, but right now, he was as skinny as a stick and his aura was extremely weak. Most likely, 80% to 90% of his cultivation had been sucked away by Sacred Lord Shu Tian. If Sacred Lord Void Sky hadn't wanted to obtain the method to return to the Void Realm from Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky, Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky would have sucked away all of his cultivation. Why didn't Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky know the method to return to the Void Realm but not Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky? That was because when Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky and Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky left the Void Realm, Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky thought that they would be able to return to the Limitless Realm. However, Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky was different. He was extremely cautious and left behind a backup plan before leaving the Void Realm. As for what Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky had left in the Void Realm, only he knew. You don't like these chaotic creatures, right? How about giving them to me? After Jiyu Fei helped Holy Master Chaotic Heaven remove the 2 iron hooks that were hooked onto his shoulder blades, Holy Master Chaotic Heaven stared at the dozens of chaotic creatures that were imprisoned by Holy Master Void Sky in the valley. Jiyu Fei naturally knew what this fella wanted to do. Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky had sucked away 80 to 90% of this fella's cultivation. Now that he was free, the first thing he wanted to do was to recover his cultivation. For an existence like Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky, the fastest way to recover his cultivation was to devour the vitality of other powerful creatures. In Sacred Lord Chaotic Sky's eyes, the dozens of chaotic creatures that Sacred Lord Void Sky had imprisoned in the valley were like great nourishment. If he could devour all the vitality of these chaotic creatures, he could recover at least 50% or even 60% of his cultivation base. After all, the weakest of the chaotic creatures imprisoned in the valley by Sacred Master Shu Tian were at least in the Eternal Realm, while the strongest were at the half-step Infinity Realm. These chaotic creatures were born in the chaos, so they were already extremely powerful. After a long period of cultivation, these chaotic creatures' cultivation was naturally astonishing. Furthermore, weaker chaotic creatures weren't even qualified to be imprisoned here by Sacred Master Shu Tian. No. Jiyu Fei refused directly. These dozens of chaotic creatures were still of great use to him. You little fella, aren't you being too stingy? Aren't they just some chaotic creatures? How about this Holy Lord owes you a favor? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven looked at Jiyu Fei and said, he was really too weak. When I saved you, didn't you already owe me a huge favor? Jiyu Fei looked at Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven with a faint smile. This, Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven didn't know what to say when he heard this. If Jiyu Fei hadn't saved him from the bronze pillar, he didn't know how long he would have been hanging there. This was a life-saving favor, a huge favor. At this moment, Jiyu Fei suddenly attacked. What are you doing? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was shocked. He was extremely weak. Although the iron hook on his shoulder blade had been taken off, he hadn't even recovered 10% of his cultivation base. He couldn't dodge Jiyu Fei's attack at all, so Jiyu Fei directly grabbed his head. A seal rushed out of Jiyu Fei's palm and entered Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's head. It was instantly imprinted on his spirit soul. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was really shocked. This little fella had actually done something to his spirit soul. With Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's cultivation base, he naturally felt the change in his spirit soul. His spirit soul had been shackled by a secret skill. I'm sorry. Jiyu Fei retracted his right hand from Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's head. What the hell did you do to my divine soul? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven said angrily. His voice was trembling because he didn't even need to think to know that this wasn't a good thing for him. It's nothing. Your life and death are in my hands. Jiyu Fei said nonchalantly. What? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was so angry that his vision turned black. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. He had just escaped from the tiger's claws and entered the wolf's den. If I wasn't lucky, I would have been tricked to death by that old B***starred Shu Tian. I don't trust you. It's better to be careful. Jiyu Fei said calmly. Being tricked by Sacred Master Shu Tian once was enough. He didn't want to be tricked again because he wasn't so lucky every time. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was infuriated, but there was nothing he could do because he was extremely weak. In fact, even if he recovered his peak cultivation, he might not be able to defeat this little guy. He could tell that Jiyu Fei had a great success of the Supreme Ultimate Realm. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven only had a great success of the Supreme Ultimate Realm when he was at his peak. Well, don't think that you'll be free after killing me. If I die, your body and soul will be destroyed too. If I die, you'll be in big trouble. Jiyu Fei said proudly. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was speechless. This little B***starred was too much. It's not difficult for you to recover your cultivation. I'll give this world that old B***starred Shu Tian left behind to you. After saying that, Jiyu Fei waved his right hand and all the chaos creatures in the valley, as well as the entire valley, were sucked into his internal world. This, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven only felt the world spin before he appeared in a place filled with spirit chi. The law of heaven and earth in this world was very strong and it was almost a perfect world. You actually have a great world? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was very surprised. Why? Splitting the sky and earth doesn't seem to be difficult. Gu Fei said disapprovingly. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven didn't know what to say. Splitting the sky and earth wasn't difficult, but refining the world into a nearly perfect great world wasn't an easy task. The world that Shu Tian left behind is yours. After saying that, Gu Fei waved his right hand and a black hole suddenly appeared behind Holy Master Turbid Heaven. Divine Lord Chaotic Heavens was sucked into the black hole and disappeared in an instant. The next moment, the black hole disappeared into the void. After devouring the world that Sacred Master Shu Tian left behind, this guy's cultivation should be able to recover 30% or 40%. Chapter 5479. Gu Fei directly moved the valley where Sacred Master Shu Tian had imprisoned the chaotic creatures into his inner world. He stood above the valley and looked down at the ferocious, terrifying, and powerful chaotic creatures. His heart was as calm as a mirror. The lowest cultivation level of these chaotic creatures was the Eternal Realm. Among them, 3 were particularly powerful. They were in the half-step to Infinity Realm, which was not much inferior to Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng. If these guys broke out of the valley, Gu Fei's inner world would also be in chaos. However, Gu Fei would never let this happen. He pondered for a while and then waved his right hand. Dozens of divine lights immediately rushed out of his hand and fell directly into the valley. They entered the bodies of the chaotic creatures imprisoned in the valley. Roar! An earth-shattering roar immediately came from the valley. Then, Gu Fei released a sword light and cut off the iron chains on all the chaotic creatures imprisoned in the valley. From now on, I am your master. Your life and death are in my hands. Gu Fei stood with his hands behind his back and looked down at the chaotic creatures in the valley. His voice rang in the minds of every chaotic creature. TSK, you little brat. What makes you think you can be our master? A wolf demon walked out. It was a chaos heavenly wolf. It was extremely powerful and had a peak Eternal Realm cultivation level. Its demonic aura was extremely powerful. That's right. Not even Void Sky could make us submit. A chaotic creature sneered. Is that so? Then you can all die. Gu Fei suddenly smiled evilly. The next moment, he stretched out his right hand and snapped his fingers. Then, the Chaos Heavenly Wolf and the chaotic creature exploded at the same time and turned into a cloud of blood mist. Both their bodies and souls were directly destroyed. Gu Fei stretched out his right hand and grabbed at the 2 clouds of blood mist. 2 powerful waves of vital energy transformed into a beam of divine light and rushed towards him, disappearing into his palm. Gu Fei instantly devoured the primordial qi of the 2 chaotic creatures. At the sight of this, the initially restless beings of chaos were scared out of their wits. Indeed, this human held their lives in his hand. With a snap of Gu Fei's fingers, the 2 chaos creatures were annihilated in body and soul, and their vitality was also devoured. All the chaotic creatures in the valley were shivering in fear. To them, this was definitely the most thorough way to die. What? Is there anyone else who's not convinced? Feel free to step forward. Gu Fei swept an indifferent glance at the chaotic creatures in the valley and said. At this moment, how would those chaotic creatures dare to stand out? The human in front of him was even more decisive than Sacred Lord Shu Tian. He had killed 2 creatures of the chaotic world without saying anything. Saint Master Shu Tian merely wanted to imprison them and had no intention of killing them. However, this human was different. He had killed 2 of the chaotic creatures right off the bat. Your subordinate is willing to serve you as my master. All the chaos creatures in the valley kowtowed to Gu Fei simultaneously. A wise man submits to circumstances. Very good. Gu Fei nodded. All of you stay here and wait for my summons. After saying that, Gu Fei disappeared into the void without waiting for them to reply. When he came out, he was greeted by a scene of destruction. Rumble. The world left behind by Sacred Lord Shu Tian shook violently. Pitch-black spatial cracks spread across the sky like spider webs. A powerful figure sat cross-legged in the middle of the world, desperately devouring the power of the world in this world. The balance of this world had been broken by this figure. The laws of heaven and earth had collapsed and endless power of heaven and earth gathered towards this figure. He was devouring the sky. This person was Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. The extremely weak Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven lacked vitality. Therefore, he wanted to devour the sky. As he continuously devoured the power of heaven and earth, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's aura became stronger. He was no longer as weak as before. His muscles and bones were expanding, his face was rosy, and his white hair had turned white. This fella, Gu Fei, was speechless. This fella really devoured Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's world. He wasn't holding back at all. The power contained in Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's world was still very strong. Soon, the world started to collapse. The power of the four elements surged out. The power that erupted from the destruction of heaven and earth was naturally terrifying. However, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven continued to devour this power unscrupulously. His aura rose rapidly, and his cultivation recovered very quickly. Gu Fei naturally wouldn't care about this fella. He had planted a forbidden technique on this fella. He could kill this fella with just a thought. The terrifying power of destruction of heaven and earth surged towards Gu Fei. The earth, mountains, rivers, and the void were collapsing and turning into destructive power. Everything in this world was collapsing and being destroyed. A star fell from the sky and smashed towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei didn't care about the star that was smashing towards him. Boom! When the star was about 300 meters away from Gu Fei's head, it exploded and collided with an invisible force field. The huge explosion was earth-shattering, and dust filled the air. The power released by the explosion of the star couldn't move Gu Fei at all. Gu Fei naturally didn't care about this power. However, this didn't mean that Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven didn't care about it. Right now, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was simply too hungry to be picky. Anyone else would have been scared silly by such a shocking scene. However, Gu Fei didn't care about this destructive scene. He walked out of this destroyed world step by step. Behind him, the void was collapsing, the earth was cracking, and the water, fire, and wind were wreaking havoc. The destruction of heaven and earth caused quite a commotion in the primal chaos. Very soon, Yang Wu appeared nearby. "You did this." Yang Wu immediately sensed Gu Fei nearby. At their level of cultivation, they could even sense each other's aura in the primal chaos. "Why do you think I did this?" Gu Fei asked helplessly. "Who else could it be?" Yang Wu said coldly. On the flame star, only Gu Fei, Yang Wu, and Death Yang Wu were infinite primes. Destroying a region of the world would be a piece of cake for an infinite prime. And him. Gu Fei pointed in the direction of the destruction. What? Chapter 5480. Rumble ___. Heaven and earth were destroyed. The world that Sacred Lord Void Sky left behind finally collapsed completely. The terrifying power of destruction that was released caused the entire chaotic space to boil. An extremely powerful aura erupted from the primal chaos. That is, Yang Wu was shocked when she felt this aura. "You know that guy?" Gu Fei looked curiously at Yang Wu. Void Sky's senior brother, Chaotic Heaven. Yang Wu gritted her teeth. "You really do know that guy?" Gu Fei wasn't very surprised because Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was Sacred Lord Void Sky's senior brother. Back then, Sacred Lord Void Sky had come to the boundary of the everlasting realm with Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. Void Sky and Chaotic Heaven had roamed together and discovered another super great world in the primal chaos, the Flame World. However, not long after they discovered the Flame World, Sacred Lord Void Sky plotted against Sacred Lord Void Sky and imprisoned him in the world that Sacred Lord Void Sky had created. Yang Wu never dreamed that she would be able to see Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven again. Sacred Lord Void Sky could even plot against her senior brother, so she naturally could do the same to Yang Wu. However, Sacred Master Void Heaven had only made a move against Yang Wu after imprisoning Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven. Therefore, Yang Wu didn't have any grudges with Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. However, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was Sacred Lord Void Sky's senior brother. Yang Wu hated Sacred Lord Void Sky to the extreme, so she naturally hated Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven as well. At this moment, a figure walked out of the chaotic aura. This person had a head full of black hair, a tall stature, and a straight eyebrow that was incomparably mighty. An incomparably domineering aura erupted from his body. Ji Fei was slightly surprised when he saw Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. Before, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was as skinny as a stick and extremely weak, as if he could die at any moment. However, it was as if this guy had become a completely different person now. It's really you. Yang Wu was enraged when she saw that person. In the next instant, she disappeared into the void. What? Ji Fei didn't think that Yang Wu would make a move. At this moment, Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven had only recovered 30 to 40% of his cultivation after devouring the world left behind by Sacred Master Void Sky. Just as he was about to come over to meet Ji Fei, his vision suddenly went black. He was actually punched by someone. This punch landed squarely on his left eye, causing his vision to go black and stars to dance around. Who ambushed me? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was enraged. The next moment, his eyes were hit again, and he was punched again. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven was enraged. He was a dignified Holy Lord, but he was actually punched twice in the face. His eyes instantly turned into panda eyes. Kill. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was enraged. In the next moment, countless divine lights rushed out of his body and penetrated in all directions. This was an indiscriminate attack. Every beam of divine light that shot out of Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's body pierced through the chaotic void. No matter where the person plotting against him was, they would be forced back by Sacred Lord Turbid Heaven's move. However, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had miscalculated. Yang Wu completely ignored the sharp divine lights that shot out of Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's body. The divine lights were repelled by an invisible force 3 feet away from her. She raised her leg and kicked Holy Master Muddy Heaven's head, sending him flying into the primal chaos aura. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was depressed. He had just devoured the world left behind by Sacred Master Void Sky and recovered 30 to 40% of his cultivation. Yet, he was beaten like a dog. What made him even more depressed was that he didn't even see who was beating him up. This was going too far. I say, can you not bully my people? Ji Fei couldn't help but say. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was his subordinate, and he was also his most capable subordinate. If Yang Wu crippled him, it would be a huge loss. Your people? Yang Wu was stunned. This fellow had even subdued Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven? How was that possible? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was that bastard Void Sky's senior brother. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's cultivation should be about the same as Void Sky's. Back then, when Chaotic Heaven and Void Sky worked together, even Yang Wu was beaten up badly. Of course, if Yang Wu faced either Void Sky or Chaotic Heaven alone, she could still put up a fight. Whose people do you think he is? Ji Fei said impatiently. You should have said so earlier. I'm leaving. Yang Wu said and disappeared into the chaotic aura. She left very decisively. Ji Fei was also speechless. Did he just beat him up and leave? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had been beaten up for nothing. At this moment, an angry roar sounded. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven broke through the chaotic aura and rushed back, but Yang Wu had already left. Was it Yang Wu, that girl? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven was furious. However, even though he was angry, he didn't dare to cause trouble for Yang Wu because he had only recovered 30 to 40% of his cultivation. On the other hand, Yang Wu was a supreme existence born from the Flame World's will. Even at his peak, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven might not have been able to defeat Yang Wu. What? The great Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven is afraid. Ji Fei looked at Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven in surprise. Sigh. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven sighed. Times are different now. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven said helplessly. He had been imprisoned by his junior brother for countless years. His junior brother had absorbed 80 to 90% of his cultivation. If Ji Fei had not discovered the valley, He did not know how long he would have been hung on the bronze pillar. Now, he had only recovered 30 to 40% of his cultivation. With his current cultivation, he was as weak as an ant in Yang Wu's eyes. When Yang Wu attacked just now, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven did not even see her shadow, let alone counterattack. This was the difference between them. If Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven, who had lived for countless years, could not even see how strong Yang Wu was, then he didn't need to live anymore. You also know that times are different now. You are mine now. In the future, follow me. We will enter the everlasting realm together and find that old bastard Void Heaven. Gu Fei said to Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. Void Heaven, that bastard. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was so angry when Sacred Lord Void Heaven was mentioned that his body trembled. Old bastard Void Heaven, I'll let you roam freely in the everlasting realm for a few days. Gu Fei gritted his teeth and said. Sacred Lord Void Heaven was willing to do anything to return to the everlasting realm. He even tricked his own senior brother. Gu Fei, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven, and Yang Wu had a common enemy, Sacred Lord Void Heaven. Once they entered the everlasting realm, Sacred Lord Void Heaven's good days would come to an end. Let's go back to the Flame Star first. After saying that, Gu Fei disappeared into the primal chaos. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven hurriedly chased after him. How did the flame world become like this? Chapter 5481. The flame world used to be a super great world, and this super great world was second only to the infinite realm. It was even bigger than the void realm, and its laws were stronger than the void realms. However, such a super great world had become a star in the primal chaos. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was stunned by the scene in front of him. The laws of the current flame star were incomplete. Although this star was still huge, it couldn't compare to the flame world of the past. It's your junior brother's doing. Gu Fei said. What? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was stunned when he heard this. Void Sky, that bastard, destroyed a super great world. This was simply devoid of conscience. Was he crazy? One had to know that the flame world was a super great world. There were countless beings in this world. Sacred Lord Void Sky destroying this world was the same as killing all the beings in this world. Slaughtering countless beings would cause the wrath of the heavens. Of course, with Sacred Lord Void Sky's cultivation, he wasn't afraid of the wrath of the heavens. Crazy, crazy, he's really crazy, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven murmured. His voice was trembling. Destroying a part of the world wasn't a big deal for existences like them. However, destroying a super great world was a different story. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had devoured the heaven and earth left behind by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Destroying such a heaven and earth was a piece of cake for Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven because there weren't many living beings in the heaven and earth left behind by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Moreover, this world had been created by Sacred Lord Void Sky herself. The flame world was a super great world formed by the heavens and earth. It wasn't a world created by someone. Divine Spring of Life. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven, who had recovered from his shock, immediately sensed the vitality on this star. Don't even think about the Divine Spring of Life. Gu Fei said coldly. Without the Divine Spring of Life, how can I recover my cultivation in such a short time? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven said angrily. What? You dare to disobey my orders? Do you not want to live anymore? Gu Fei snickered coldly. Holy Lord Chaotic Skies immediately cowered. He had no choice but to cower. This was because his life and death really depended on a single thought from the other party. If the other party wanted to kill him, he would explode on the spot with a single thought. His body and soul would be destroyed. Very good, you are now my subordinate, understand? Gu Fei said indifferently. Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was speechless. However, the situation was stronger than him. In front of Gu Fei, he was just an ant. He could only listen to Gu Fei. When we return to the Void Realm, are you still worried that you won't be able to recover your cultivation? Gu Fei said. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's eyes lit up. Let's go. Gu Fei brought Holy Master Chaotic Heavens back to the Grand Mist Divine City. Then, Holy Master Chaotic Heaven started to set up a teleportation array on the plaza of Hongmeng Divine City. He was building a teleportation array that could be used to return to the Void World. At this time, a storm was brewing in the Void Realm. Thousands of years had passed, and the power structure of the Void Realm had undergone earth-shattering changes. The Limitless Demon Lord and the Snow Demon had divided the entire Middle Sky. Moreover, the Snow Demon had subdued the Eastern Wasteland Demon race and became the supreme demon race in the Void Realm. The Buddha race had been defeated and forced to retreat to the Southern Barbarians. The disciples of the Middle Sky Buddha race had been killed by the Limitless Demon Lord. The West Sea Dragon race had also moved to the Southern Barbarians. The entire West Sea Dragon race had become the domain of Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation. Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation had also conquered the North Ruins. The North Ruins Ghost Emperor was a fence-sitter. When Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation arrived, he immediately surrendered. On the other hand, the Bone Emperor had escaped to the Southern Barbarians when he received the news. These people who were subdued by Jiu Fei actually knew that Jiu Fei wasn't dead. Because they were still alive, Jiu Fei had planted a forbidden technique on them. If Jiu Fei died, their bodies and souls would be destroyed. However, they were still alive and well. This was also the reason why the Bone Emperor and the others didn't dare to betray Jiu Fei. Because once Jiu Fei returned, those who betrayed Jiu Fei would definitely die. At this time, in the Southern Barbarians, Jiu Fei's power had increased greatly. Because of the addition of experts like the Bone Emperor and the West Sea Old Dragon, Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju had some confidence. Moreover, the Shaman Emperor was also in the Southern Barbarians. Moreover, the four great generals under Jiu Fei were also in the Southern Barbarians. In fact, other than the lack of Boundless Realm experts in the Southern Barbarians, there were also many Emperor Realm and Transcendent Emperor Realm experts. The Limitless Demon Lord really wanted to kill Jiu Fei's disciples and Grand Disciples, but Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation didn't allow it. Because when Jiu Fei stepped on the formation platform of the Realm Wall to the Limitless Realm, they had already made a promise to Jiu Fei that they wouldn't touch his people. Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation seemed to have a much more righteous sense than his main body. The limitless fire spirit that Jiu Fei subdued surrendered to the Limitless Demon Lord. Although the limitless fire spirit surrendered to the Limitless Demon Lord and fought for the Limitless Demon Lord, it was very careful. On the surface, it was very loyal to the Limitless Demon Lord, but in fact, it was secretly looking forward to the return of Jiu Fei. It didn't help the Limitless Demon Lord to attack the Southern Barbarians. As for the Tian clan, they became an exception in the Middle Sky. The Tian clan directly closed their ancestral land and hid in their ancestral land. As long as it wasn't those Boundless Realm experts who made a move, no one could do anything to the Tian clan. Moreover, those Boundless Realm experts were very clear that the ancestor of the Tian clan, Yuxian and the Ling Tian Palace Master of the Ling Tian Palace could fuse together and become the Limitless Sword Master. Most importantly, Yuxian and the Ling Tian Palace Master didn't have an immortal body. This was a secret that only the Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation, the Limitless Demon Lord, and the Snow Demon knew. This was also the reason why they didn't attack Yuxian and the Ling Tian Palace Master separately. The Limitless Sword Master wouldn't make such a low-level mistake. The Ling Tian Palace was also closed now. The Tian clan's ancestral land and the Ling Tian Palace were two places with extraordinary status in the Void Realm. After thousands of years, the Limitless Demon Lord became more and more impatient. His subordinates kept invading the Southern Barbarians. Everyone knew that the day when the Limitless Demon Lord would attack the Southern Barbarians was not far. Moreover, the Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation didn't seem to want to care about the Southern Barbarians at this time. In the past few hundred years, the Holy Master Void Heaven's incarnation had been in seclusion and hadn't appeared. Snow Demon stayed on her snow mountain and wouldn't easily leave the Middle Sky Snow Mountain. The Limitless Demon Lord's people were very active in the area between the Middle Sky and the Southern Barbarians. Someone noticed the unusual movements of the Limitless Demon Lord's army. Southern Barbarian Royal City, in the Palace Hall. Your Highness, what should we do? Xiao Ya stood next to the throne. The throne was empty. Only Jiyu Fei was qualified to sit on this throne. Different situations call for different actions. What are you nervous about? That's right. It's not like we haven't fought with the limitless demon lord's devil army. Long Xiaoju, who was sitting on the first seat on the left of the throne, said indifferently. Chapter 5482. In the Void World, the limitless demon lord was going all out against the southern barbarians. Meanwhile, on the Flame Star, Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was busy building a teleportation array in the square of the primordial divine race's divine city. However, the teleportation array that Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was building was much more complicated than Jiyu Fei had imagined. Every brick used to build the teleportation array needed to be engraved with ancient and complicated Dao patterns. It was a teleportation array that could transport people infinitely far away. Even with Holy Master Chaotic Heaven's cultivation base, it wasn't an easy task to build such a teleportation array. Everyone in the primordial divine race was busy building the teleportation array. Even the Flame Clan had come to help. The two major clans had collected a lot of divine materials, but Holy Master Chaotic Heaven didn't have anything on him. After he had been imprisoned by Holy Master Void Sky, everything on him had been taken away. Even his inner world had been searched by Holy Master Void Sky. He was already lucky that Holy Master Void Sky hadn't destroyed his inner world. The divine materials needed to build a super teleportation array were naturally extraordinary. Even the primordial divine race and the Flame Clan didn't have that many divine materials. In the end, Jiyu Fei had to fork out a large portion of the divine materials, and it took him more than half a month to build the teleportation array that was dozens of feet tall. The teleportation array stood on the square like a small mountain. The entire teleportation array was built with primal chaos divine stones. This kind of divine stone was born in the primordial chaos, and it was very difficult to find. However, Jiyu Fei had a lot of them. Moreover, these primal chaos divine stones were the leftovers from refining the primordial chaos seal. Jiyu Fei's primordial chaos seal was a supreme boundless Dao artifact refined from an entire mountain of primordial chaos divine metal. The primal chaos divine stones were just waste that had been attached to the mountain of primordial chaos divine metal. Fortunately, Jiyu Fei had collected these waste materials, and they could be put to good use now. Not bad, not bad. When the last brick of the chaos divine stone was laid, a ball of divine light emerged from the teleportation array. Every brick of the chaos divine stone had an ancient and abstruse Dao pattern on it. Jiyu Fei exclaimed in admiration at the sight of this. His formation Dao cultivation wasn't weak, but it was far from being comparable to the chaotic heaven sacred master. This was because even he himself could not build such a teleportation formation platform. Don't you know who I am? The chaotic heaven holy master was very pleased. Array formations were his forte. In the limitless realm, all living beings had an endless lifespan. They had enough time to study and research something. Therefore, in the limitless realm, all kinds of cultivation systems had been developed to the extreme. There weren't many people in the infinite realm who could surpass Sacred Lord Turbid Heaven in terms of arrays. Stop being so smug. How do we go back? Tell me. Jiyu Fei and Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven stepped onto the teleportation array together. I left a drop of my heart's blood in the Void Realm. That bastard Void Sky only left behind a clone. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's expression was a little gloomy. Being plotted against by his own junior brother was definitely a shadow in his heart. It should be known that he and Void Sky had grown up together and roamed the world together. Even though they weren't blood-related brothers, the two of them were closer than blood-related brothers. However, this person who had been killed by his own brother had actually changed. He had become cold-blooded and heartless. In the end, he had even attacked him. After Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had escaped, he found out that his junior brother had been crazy enough to destroy a great world. In his opinion, Sacred Lord Void Sky was really crazy. However, his junior brother had finally returned to the limitless realm as he wished. If he wanted to take revenge, he would have to return to the limitless realm first. However, it was practically impossible for the chaotic heaven sacred master to return to the unbounded realm. Using my heart's blood as a guide. Ji Fei couldn't help but be startled when he heard this. This fellow was really ruthless to himself. That was a drop of heart's blood, not a drop of blood. Compared to ordinary blood, heart's blood was way too precious. Actually, heart's blood was just a way of saying it. Heart's blood was condensed from a cultivator's essence. It contained a cultivator's complete essence, chi, and spirit. An ordinary clone couldn't compare to it. This was especially true for an existence like Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. A drop of his heart's blood was actually another version of himself. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's blood might even have the chance to grow into another Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. Ji Fei finally understood why Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven could return to the Void Realm. He had actually left a drop of heart's blood in the Void Realm. Using the heart's blood as a guide, he could return to the location of the heart's blood no matter where he was. You also know of this secret technique? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven stared at Ji Fei in shock. TSK, what kind of secret technique is this? Ji Fei was truly speechless. This kind of divine ability wasn't actually a secret. However, Ji Fei was wrong. The Divine Master of the Chaotic Heaven's Divine Lord's Heart's Blood Guide was unique and surpassed the limits of time. Seeing Ji Fei's indifferent expression, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven felt somewhat embarrassed. In his opinion, this divine ability was amazing, but in Ji Fei's eyes, it wasn't even worth mentioning. Can this formation platform be used now? Ji Fei asked. Not yet, I still need to make some arrangements, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven said hurriedly. He also wanted to return to the Void Realm. After all, the Flame Star lacked everything, and he couldn't just absorb the divine spring of life to recover his cultivation base. After returning to the Void Realm, he could retrieve the drop of heart's blood he had left in the Void Realm. After all, he could recover at least 30% of his cultivation base. All right, take your time to set it up. With these words, Ji Fei directly left. At this moment, he sensed Yang Wu's aura. Oh my, why is our flame fairy in the mood to stroll around here? Upon seeing Yang Wu, Ji Fei walked up to her with a smile. I say, old Ji, don't be so talkative. Tell me, what are you doing? Yang Wu asked directly. What can I do on the Flame Star? Ji Fei asked helplessly. You built the formation platform behind my back. Where do you want to go? Yang Wu said with a cold smile. Haha, you've seen through me. Are you interested in taking a trip with me? Ji Fei laughed. Where to? Are you going to the Boundless Realm? Yang Wu said mockingly. What are you talking about? If I could go to the Boundless Realm, would I still be here chatting with you? Ji Fei said snappily. Then you're going to another world. Yang Wu said in a low voice. It's really boring here. I want to go back to where I came from and see where my disciples are. Ji Fei stopped smiling and said with a solemn expression. Where you came from? Hearing this, Yang Wu became even more interested. Since Ji Fei was so amazing, she was really curious about what kind of world he came from. Chapter 5483. Two figures stood high up in the sky. They were Ji Fei and Yang Wu. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven, who was busy carving an array platform on the Chaos Divine City's plaza, raised his head and sneered in the direction of Ji Fei and Yang Wu. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had also sensed Yang Wu's aura, but he pretended not to notice. This was because Holy Master Chaotic Heaven knew very well that he wasn't a match for Yang Wu right now. Although he really wanted to settle the score with Yang Wu, he needed to recover his peak cultivation at the very least. Otherwise, he would be courting death. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven struggled to carve array patterns on the array platform. This was the core array pattern, and he couldn't afford to be careless. If he made a mistake, the entire array platform would be destroyed and he would have to rebuild it. This was an array platform that had taken Holy Master Chaotic Heaven more than half a month to build. If he destroyed this array platform because of a small mistake, he would probably vomit blood. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven carefully carved the array patterns, and his forehead was soon covered in sweat. Meanwhile, Ji Fei was flirting with Yang Wu in the sky. I want to see what kind of place you came from. I can't believe such a monstrous genius like you came from. Yang Wu said. I'll inform you when the array platform is completed. Ji Yufei smiled. I hope you won't disappoint me. After saying that, Yang Wu disappeared into the void. She had left. Ji Yufei was speechless. Yang Wu had left so decisively. The news of the primordial divine race and the Flame Clan working together to build an array platform in Hongmeng Divine City had spread. The commotion caused by old ancestor Chaotic Heaven's construction of the array platform was too big, and many of the major forces' spies had snuck into Hongmeng Divine City. A huge array platform the size of a small mountain stood on the plaza of Hongmeng Divine City. It was too eye-catching, and it was impossible not to notice it. All the major forces on the Flame Star were alarmed. As a result, the number of spies around Hongmeng Divine City increased. Hongmeng Divine City belonged to the primordial divine race, and not everyone could enter and leave freely. Only members of the primordial divine race could enter and leave the city freely. Outsiders were forbidden from entering the Hongmeng Divine City. Of course, there was an exception, and that was the Flame Clan. The Flame Clan had yet to find a place to move, and they could only set up camp in the plaza of Hongmeng Divine City. This was Ji Yufei's tacit consent, and no one dared to say anything. However, it would be difficult for the various superpower spies on the Flame Star to enter the Hongmeng Divine City. Moreover, it was extremely dangerous. If they were discovered by the Grand Mist Divine Race, there would only be one outcome for the outsiders: death. The Grand Mist Divine Race had never shown mercy to outsiders who dared to barge into the Grand Mist Divine City. As long as they caught them, they would be killed on the spot. The Divine Spring of Life was located in the Grand Mist Divine City, and it was the lifeblood of the Grand Mist Divine Race. In order to protect the Divine Spring of Life, the Grand Mist Divine Race was willing to do anything. During these days, there was one person in the Grand Mist Divine Clan who was depressed. That person was Hong Zui. After teasing Ji Yufei in her drunken stupor, she couldn't forget about Ji Yufei. However, Ji Yufei seemed to have forgotten about what had happened that night, and he didn't even bother to punish her. While Holy Master Chaotic Heavens was setting up the transmission array, Hong Zui left the city to relieve her boredom. She only brought along 2 attendants as she rode the Black Dragon Divine Colt out of the Hongmeng Divine City. Hong Zui's appearance immediately attracted the attention of the various superpower spies outside the city. The Grand Mist Divine Race's hunting ground was located on a primitive mountain ridge 100 miles away from the Hongmeng Divine City. The hunting ground was huge, and there were all kinds of fierce beasts raised by the Grand Mist Divine Race. The fierce beasts in the hunting ground weren't very strong, but it had become a training ground for the younger generation of the Grand Mist Divine Race. For the past several hundred years, the younger generation of the Grand Mist Divine Race had to hunt a fierce beast in the hunting ground to be considered as an adult. The coming-of-age ceremony had become a tradition of the Grand Mist Divine Race. If one failed to kill a fierce beast and couldn't complete the coming-of-age ceremony, it would be extremely embarrassing in the Grand Mist Divine Race. To Hong Zui and the others riding the Black Dragon Divine Colt, 100 miles was a distance that they could cover in less than an hour. Of course, if they flew, they could reach the hunting ground in less than an hour. When Hong Zui arrived at the hunting ground with the 2 maids, someone came up to them. When they saw Hong Zui, they hurriedly saluted and led the Black Dragon Divine Colt away. "Let's go. I want to kill that Wolf King today," Hong Zui said as she rushed into the hunting ground. "Young miss, wait for us." The 2 maids hurriedly chased after Hong Zui. The 3 of them quickly disappeared into the mountain ridge. "Did you hear that? Young Miss Zui wants to kill the Wolf King in the mountain," one of the Grand Mist Divine Race's disciples at the hunting ground's entrance exclaimed to his companion beside him. "I'm not deaf, of course I heard it. That young Miss Zui has been coming here to hunt for the past half a month, but I don't see her killing the Wolf King," the Grand Mist Divine Race's disciple said disapprovingly. "Hehe, I have a feeling that things might be different this time. Then, why don't we make a bet? Let's bet. Who's afraid of who? Ian, I bet that young Miss Zui can't kill the Wolf King. All right, whoever loses has to hand over a month's worth of cultivation resources. How about that?" That's it. While the 2 Grand Mist Divine Race's disciples were making their bet, The roars of fierce beasts rang out from the mountain ridge. At this time, several figures evaded the Grand Mist Divine Race's disciples guarding the hunting ground and entered the hunting ground stealthily. Their target was naturally Hong Zui-er. Chaos Wolf King, I'm coming. At this time, Hong Zui-er looked like she had been injected with chicken blood as she charged towards the Chaos Wolf King's lair excitedly. The Chaos Wolf King wasn't the powerful existence born from the chaos that had died in Ji Yufei's hands. This Chaos Wolf King was merely the Chaos Wolf King that had a trace of chaos bloodline in its body. Even so, this Chaos Wolf King was incomparably powerful. With Hong Zui-er's cultivation, it wouldn't be easy for her to kill the Chaos Wolf King. Otherwise, she would have come here many times. If she could kill the Chaos Wolf King, she would have done so long ago. Why would she wait until now? Never in her wildest dreams would she have imagined that while she had her eyes on the Chaos Wolf King, someone else had their eyes on her. This was really the case of the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. At this time, the mysterious figures were moving swiftly through the mountain ridge and were about to catch up to Hong Zui-er and the others. Chapter 5484. The primordial Chaos Divine Tribe had developed well on the Flame Star. They occupied a huge territory and even had a hunting ground for their young disciples. The hunting ground was huge. The entire mountain range spanned tens of thousands of miles. In the depths of the mountain range, there were many powerful Beast King-level beasts. The Chaos Wolf King was one of the Beast Kings. The Chaos Wolf King's territory spanned over 1,000 miles. If other Beast Kings trespassed into its territory, the Chaos Wolf King would rush out and chase them away. At this time, the ferocious Chaos Wolf King was targeted by someone. The person who targeted the Chaos Wolf King was Hong Zui-er of the Primordial Chaos Divine Tribe. Hong Zui-er was the granddaughter of the Primordial Chaos Divine Tribe's ancestor, Hong Zhun. She was famous for her love of wine. Hong Zhun's cultivation was in the extreme Dao realm. Hong Zui-er was a half-step extreme Dao realm cultivator. Even though Hong Zui-er loved wine, she was a rare genius among the younger generation of the Primordial Chaos Divine Tribe. However, the Chaos Wolf King was no weakling. It was on par with Hong Zui-er. Hong Zui-er had already fought a few battles with the Chaos Wolf King. Wolf Cub, get your ass out here right now. Hong Zui-er climbed up a small hill and yelled at the valley opposite her. Her voice reverberated through the mountains. Little girl, you still dare to come? A wave of spiritual will spread out from the valley. At its cultivation realm, the Chaos Wolf King was also proficient in transformation. It had already gained intelligence and was even more cunning and vicious than humans. One had to know that it was the Chaos Wolf King. Cunning and vicious were its characteristics. TSK, why wouldn't I dare to come? Today, I will send you on your way. Hong Zui-er sneered. Haha, is that so? Do you have the ability? The Chaos Wolf King laughed disdainfully. Cut the crap. Let's fight. Hong Zui-er had originally come here to find the Chaos Wolf King to fight and vent her frustrations. She immediately flew into the sky from the mountain peak and dove into the valley in front of her. Miss, her two maids were shocked and wanted to rush in as well. All of you, wait outside. Hong Zui-er's voice came from the valley. This. The two maids didn't know what to do. Roar. The howl of a wolf rang out from the valley. A powerful wave of yuan qi immediately spread out from the valley, causing the entire valley to tremble. Inside the valley, Hong Zui-er was fighting a giant silver wolf. The giant silver wolf moved quickly around Hong Zui-er, leaving behind a series of afterimages. The giant wolf's sharp claws constantly tore at Hong Zui-er. A sharp blade of light shot out from the silver wolf's sharp claws and tore through the void. Hong Zui-er was extremely calm. She threw out punch after punch, directly blasting away the light blades that were tearing at her. This was the Grand Mist Divine Fist of the Grand Mist Divine Clan. It was a simple fist technique, but its power was shocking. The Chaos Wolf King attacked Hong Zui-er ferociously. However, it could not break through the primordial fist force that exploded from Hong Zui-er's fist. Roar. The Chaos Wolf King roared out furiously as it attacked with all its might. Its pair of sharp claws seemed to be able to tear the void apart. However, No matter how ferocious and violent the Chaos Wolf King's attack was, it was useless. All of its attacks were blocked by Hong Zui-er's fists. At this moment, Hong Zui-er had actually entered a strange state of cultivation. She was originally extremely frustrated, but now, her state of mind was as calm as a mirror. There was not a single ripple in her heart. Furthermore, her current sensory abilities were extremely shocking. Even though this Chaos Wolf King was moving rapidly around her, her senses told her that this Wolf King was moving in slow motion. "You're too slow," Hong Zui-er said. Her tone was extremely calm. "What did you say?" The Chaos Wolf King was instantly enraged. This lass actually said that its movements were slow. "You don't believe me?" Hong Zui-er's lips curled into a cold smile. In the next moment, her feet moved and she disappeared from the spot. Then, a fist instantly enlarged in front of the Chaos Wolf King's eyes, directly smashing into its right eye. The Chaos Wolf King felt its vision go black. It saw stars and almost fainted. It immediately retreated. However, Hong Zui-er was like a shadow. She threw another punch at the Chaos Wolf King's left eye. The Chaos Wolf King started to doubt its wolf life. Was its movements really slow? "I've already said that you're too slow." Hong Zui-er's tone was still very calm. The Chaos Wolf King was shocked and furious. It had never expected that Hong Zui-er's cultivation level would increase so much in just a few days. To think that she could hit it so easily. In the past half a month, it had fought with this lass multiple times. However, it had never been in such a pathetic state. It was actually hit by this lass twice in a row. Furthermore, it was on its face. At this moment, Hong Zui-er's battle strength was at its peak. Her speed was extremely fast. Even the Chaos Wolf King, which had always been known for its speed, could not shake her off. Hong Zui-er attacked calmly and threw another punch. As for the Chaos Wolf King, it actually could not dodge Hong Zui-er's punch. Once again, Hong Zui-er's punch landed squarely on its body, sending it flying. Boom! With a loud bang, the Chaos Wolf King's humongous body directly smashed into the rock wall hundreds of feet away. A huge crater was formed in the incomparably sturdy rock wall. Gravel flew everywhere. At this moment, Hong Zui-er actually showed signs of breaking through to the extreme Dao realm. Just as Hong Zui-er was beating up the Chaos Wolf King, 3 black figures stood on the short mountain outside the valley. On the ground in front of these 3 mysterious figures, there were 2 corpses. Hong Zui-er's 2 maidservants were actually killed by these 3 mysterious figures. "There's no turning back now that you've killed someone from the primordial chaos race." One of the black-robed masked men sneered. "TCH, isn't it just killing 2 people from the primordial chaos race? What's there to be surprised about?" Another mysterious figure said disdainfully. Hong Zui-er's 2 maidservants did not have much status in the primordial chaos race. They were not core members of the race. However, they were still members of the primordial chaos race. After killing them, Hong Zui-er would definitely not let it go so easily. But so what? Their target was Hong Zui-er. When Hong Zui-er and the Chaos Wolf King are both injured, that will be the time for us to make our move. The leader of the mysterious figure's voice was incomparably cold and emotionless. From the moment they set their eyes on Hong Zui-er, there was no turning back. At this time, in the City Lord's manor of the Hongmeng Divine City, Ji Yufei's mind was wandering. His divine sense enveloped the entire heaven and earth. Naturally, he could sense everything that was happening in the primordial chaos race's hunting ground 100 miles away. Someone actually has designs on that little girl. Chapter 5485. On the Flame Star, with Ji Yufei's cultivation, he could cover a radius of billions of miles with a single thought. At this time, even though Ji Yufei was in the Hongmeng Divine City, his mind was still wandering around. His faintly discernible divine sense was still roaming between heaven and earth. Then, he saw an interesting scene. It wasn't a secret that the Hongmeng Divine race had a hunting ground 100 miles away from the Hongmeng Divine City. The Hongmeng Divine race used this hunting ground to train their younger generation. In the past 1,000 years, the Hongmeng Divine race had been on the right track. However, ever since Ji Yufei returned, everything had changed. The Hongmeng divine race's efforts in the past 1,000 years had almost gone to waste. Everything that belonged to the Hongmeng divine race didn't belong to them anymore. Even the entire Hongmeng divine race had become someone else's slave. Everything that belonged to the Hongmeng divine race didn't belong to them anymore. Of course, Jiu Fei wasn't a harsh master. He was still very tolerant towards his subordinates. Basically, he was a hands-off boss. Jiu Fei wouldn't interfere with the Hongmeng divine race's internal affairs, and he couldn't be bothered to. This made the Hongmeng divine race's ancestors heave a sigh of relief. Meanwhile, in the depths of the Hongmeng divine race's hunting ground, in the valley where the Chaos Wolf King's lair was located, the Chaos Wolf King's roar shook heaven and earth. Powerful vital energy fluctuations surged out from the valley. On the short mountain outside the valley, the three mysterious experts stood quietly on the top of the mountain, motionless, like three statues. In the valley, the Chaos Wolf King charged at Hong Zhui'er like a madman. However, no matter how ferocious the Chaos Wolf King's attacks were, they were easily blocked by Hong Zhui'er's fists. Hong Zhui'er's punches were simple and direct. However, every punch contained the essence of the Great Tao, and it had the power to turn something rotten into something magical. How is this possible? The Chaos Wolf King was depressed. He had just been punched twice in the face by Hong Zhui'er. Now that he had used his trump card, he still couldn't do anything to her. This Chaos Wolf King had been cultivating for a much longer time than Hong Zhui'er. In the eyes of the Chaos Wolf King, Hong Zhui'er was really just a little girl. However, Hong Zhui'er had a good background and was a genius of the primordial Chaos God race. This was something that the Chaos Wolf King could not compare to. Family background was also a kind of capital. The Grand Mist Divine Clan's inheritance was definitely extraordinary. One had to know that the Grand Mist Divine Clan was once one of the 10 strongest superpowers in the Flame world. This was the difference between Hong Zhui'er, who had a powerful inheritance, and the Chaos Wolf King. Boom! Hong Zhui'er was conjuring the Great Tao. With a single punch, she sent the Chaos Wolf King flying once again. The Chaos Wolf King was extremely depressed right now. He had fought with Hong Zhui'er a couple of times before as well. However, all of them ended in a draw. Hong Zhui'er couldn't gain any advantage over him at all. But now, in such a short period of time, he was actually not a match for this little girl. How did this little girl's cultivation suddenly soar? Boom! The Chaos Wolf King smashed into the forest in the valley, causing chaos in the forest. At the next moment, the Chaos Wolf King rushed out of the forest, coughing out blood continuously. The power of Hong Zhui'er's punch was not small. Moreover, the power of Hong Zhui'er's punches grew stronger and stronger. She punched out again, causing the void to tremble. Spatial ripples visible to the naked eye spread out from her fists. Without any suspense, the Chaos Wolf King that was pouncing towards Hong Zhui'er was sent flying once again. At this time, Hong Zhui'er had entered a mysterious state of cultivation. Her Great Tao was constantly evolving and perfecting itself. Her cultivation had actually broken through under such circumstances. Interesting. In the Hongmeng Divine City, Jiu Fei chuckled when he saw this scene. Hong Zhui'er actually broke through at this time. How unexpected. In the Grand Mist Divine Clan, as long as one's cultivation broke through to the extreme Tao realm, they could become the clan's patriarch. If Hong Zhui'er's cultivation successfully broke through to the extreme Tao realm, she would be the youngest patriarch in the history of the Grand Mist Divine Clan. Impossible. The Chaos Wolf King went berserk. He immediately conjured his heaven and earth Dharma idol, and a silver wolf that was bigger than a mountain appeared between heaven and earth. The huge wolf claw slammed down on Hong Zhui'er. Chaotic chi swirled around the wolf's claw, and the sharp claws tore through the void. The Chaos Wolf King was also a half-step extreme Tao expert. At this moment, he already knew that Hong Zhui'er was breaking through the shackles of her cultivation. Her cultivation was about to break through to the true extreme Tao realm. This was definitely not a good thing for the Chaos Wolf King. He was no match for Hong Zhui'er now. If Hong Zhui'er's cultivation broke through to the extreme Tao realm, he would die a horrible death. Under the Chaos Wolf King's huge claw, Hong Zhui'er was as small as an ant. However, Even though Hong Zuiyer's body couldn't compare to the Chaos Wolf King's, the Yuan Qi in her body was extremely strong. She directly punched at the wolf claw that came crashing down from the sky. Bam! A dull thud resounded. Her small fist actually blocked the huge wolf claw. Damn it! The Chaos Wolf King desperately circulated the Yuan Qi in its body, wanting to slap Hong Zuiyer to death under its claws. However, Hong Zuiyer's right foot stomped on the ground. Her entire spine shook violently, and an even stronger force immediately exploded from her right fist. Boom! The ferocious fist force directly shattered the Chaos Wolf King's huge wolf claw, turning it into a cloud of blood mist. Roar! The Chaos Wolf King roared and turned to escape. No matter how unwilling it was, it had to escape at this moment. This was because it knew that it was no longer this little girl's match. If it continued to fight with this little girl, it would definitely be the one to die. Hong Zuiyer didn't chase after the Chaos Wolf King. This was because she had reached the most crucial moment. An extreme Dao mark was constantly collapsing and reforming on her glabella. Every time it reformed, the great Dao mark on her glabella would become clearer, and it would become more complete. At this moment, the Chaos Wolf King charged out of the valley. The victor has been decided so quickly. On the short mountain outside the valley, the leader of the mysterious men in black said with some surprise. In order to deal with Hong Zuiyer, they already knew everything about Hong Zuiyer. Hong Zuiyer and this Chaos Wolf King had battled a few times, and it had always ended in a draw. Today, the battle between Hong Zuiyer and the Chaos Wolf King had actually ended so quickly. This was beyond the expectations of these mysterious men. The Chaos Wolf King, which was even bigger than a mountain, directly charged towards the mountain that the three mysterious men were on. This was because the mountain that the three mysterious men were on was directly facing the valley's exit. The three mysterious men hurriedly charged into the sky. Boom! Immediately after, there was a loud sound. The Chaos Wolf King that had charged out of the valley had actually slammed its head into the short mountain in front of the valley's entrance. The entire short mountain was smashed into pieces, and it fled in a pathetic manner. Chapter 5486. In the depths of the primordial Chaos Divine Tribe's hunting grounds, the Chaos Wolf King escaped from the valley. This time, the Chaos Wolf King was scared out of its wits. In its panic, it slammed its head into the small mountain opposite the valley. The entire small mountain was smashed into pieces by the giant wolf. In an instant, rocks flew everywhere, and dust filled the air. The entrance to the valley was in chaos. As for the three mysterious men who had their eyes on Hong Zuiyer, they were scared out of their wits. What was the Chaos Wolf King doing? Was it rushing to reincarnate? The leader of the mysterious men was relatively calm. However, his two subordinates widened their eyes and were dumbfounded. The Chaos Wolf King was a powerful existence that was half a step into the extreme Dao realm. His escape with all his might had caused quite a commotion. What's happening in the mountain? Outside the hunting grounds, several primordial Chaos Divine Tribe disciples looked into the depths of the mountain. What else is going on? Our young miss is having fun in there. But the commotion this time is a little too big. Looking at the dust rising into the sky from the depths of the mountain, the primordial Chaos Divine Tribe disciples were shocked. They had not caused such a commotion in the past few times. At this time, in the Chaos Wolf King's lair, endless heaven and earth spiritual energy gathered towards a figure from all directions and was directly absorbed. Not good. Outside the valley, the mysterious leader seemed to have sensed something and couldn't help but be shocked. "Boss, what's wrong?" One of the mysterious men asked anxiously. Hong Zuiyer is breaking through. As the mysterious leader spoke, his figure disappeared into the void in the next moment. He was nowhere to be seen. What? The two mysterious men were shocked. Hong Zuiyer was a half-step extreme Dao existence. If she made a breakthrough in her cultivation, wouldn't she be in the extreme Dao realm? Once she broke through to the extreme grade realm, their plan would not be able to proceed any further. Not only would their plan be ruined, but they would also have to flee for their lives. At this time, the leader of the mysterious men had already rushed into the valley and saw Hong Zuiyer standing in the void. Hong Zuiyer stood quietly in the air, surrounded by spiritual light. Endless spiritual chi of the world frantically gathered towards her and entered her body. At this moment, Hong Zui-er's entire body was like a bottomless pit, crazily devouring the surrounding spiritual energy. I'm really going to break through. How can I let you break through? As the mysterious man spoke, he flipped his right hand and a handful of black beads appeared in his hand. Without hesitation, the mysterious man waved his hand and threw the black beads at Hong Zui-er. More than a dozen black pearls instantly smashed in front of Hong Zui-er. Rumble, in the next moment, a thunderclap shook the heavens as the black beads exploded several meters away from Hong Zui-er. A powerful force of destruction erupted, directly drowning Hong Zui-er within it. Boss, this. The other two mysterious men rushed over. The mysterious leader stared at the destructive flames that exploded in front of him. The black beads he threw out were the thunderbolt fireballs that were famous even in Flame World. When he threw out the thunderbolt flame ball, even a half-step extreme Dao expert would have to dodge it. However, at this moment, a figure charged out from the ball of lightning fire and pounced towards the three mysterious people. What? When the three mysterious people saw this, they were really shocked. Good, you're here. I'll use you as a practice target. Hong Zui-er bellowed and threw a punch at the three mysterious men. Hum. The void trembled as countless fist shadows appeared in the void, crashing towards the three mysterious men in an overwhelming manner. The three mysterious people were shocked and immediately scattered. However, the shadows of the fists were like shadows. They could even turn and attack the three mysterious people separately. The three mysterious people immediately took out their weapons. The leader flipped his right hand and a demonic saber immediately appeared in his hand. Kill. The person roared and slashed forward with all his might. An extremely sharp saber light rushed out of the demonic saber in the hands of the mysterious person. It instantly soared for thousands of meters, broke through the countless fist shadows, and slashed towards Hong Zui-er who was behind the fist shadows. Another mysterious person wielded a demonic spear and also attacked towards Hong Zui-er with great vigor. The last mysterious person released poison directly. A poisonous mist spread out in the surroundings, causing the surrounding flowers and trees to wither and turn yellow very quickly. Who are you? Hong Zui-er was shocked and furious. She had no choice but to retreat. Especially the mysterious person who released the poison. The poison that he released was extremely domineering. Even Hong Zui-er would not dare to touch such a terrifying poisonous mist. Boss, do we kill or follow the plan? The mysterious person who released the poison said loudly. We won't kill if we can capture her. If we can't, we'll kill her. The leader of the mysterious people roared. Understood. The two mysterious people immediately chased after Hong Zui-er. You sneaky bastards, you still want to capture me? Hong Zui-er's figure was like a phantom as she moved quickly in the void. She dared not let the person who released the poison get close to her. Moreover, she was one step away from breaking through the shackles of her cultivation base and breaking through to the extreme Dao realm. Therefore, she chose to retreat. Don't let her escape. The leader of the mysterious people shouted. The three mysterious people in black chased after Hong Zui-er without hesitation. At that moment, the people outside the hunting ground thought that Hong Zui-er was fighting the Chaos Wolf King. They did not expect that someone would sneak into the hunting ground to capture Hong Zui-er. Interesting. In the Hongmeng Divine City, the corners of Ji Yufei's mouth curled into a sneer. These three people were actually demons. On the Flame Star, there was only one group of demons that dared to go against the Grand Mist Divine race, and they were the Grand Mist demons. Of course, other than the Grand Mist demons, there were other demons on the Flame Star. However, how could those small fries dare to go against the Grand Mist Divine race? Don't they know how powerful the Grand Mist Divine race's backing is? Ji Yufei had not expected that there would still be people who wanted to cause trouble at this time. If I don't cause trouble for them, they would be lucky to have the guts to cause trouble for the Grand Mist Divine race. Since those people want to play, let's play with them. I'm bored anyway. After saying that, Ji Yufei stood up from the throne and walked out of the hall. Soon, a group of people rushed out of the Hongmeng Divine City and headed towards the hunting ground. The hunt has begun. Ji Fei rode on a black dragon colt and blended into the group of people. The leader of the group was Hong Zhui's grandfather, Hong Zhun. Hong Zhun was a true extreme Dao realm expert. Chapter 5487. The hunt had begun, and the mysterious organization had set their sights on Hong Zhui. However, no one had expected the Grand Mist Divine Race's backer to be Ji Fei. Ji Fei was an expert in the Peerless Realm. According to Holy Master Chaotic Heaven, there were only a few experts in the Peerless Realm who had reached the Peerless Realm in the entire Endless World. With just a thought, Ji Fei could cover hundreds of millions of miles. Hence, Ji Fei had sensed the mysterious organizations plotting against Hong Zhui. Before long, Hong Zhun led his men to the mountain range where the Grand Mist Divine Race's hunting ground was located. Surprisingly, Ji Fei had mixed in with Hong Zhun's subordinates. Among the entire group, only Hong Zhun knew about Ji Fei's background. Hong Zhun trembled with fear. After all, news of his granddaughter teasing Ji Fei while she was drunk had spread throughout the entire Hongmeng Divine City. When everyone thought that there was something going on between Hong Zhui and Ji Fei, there was no news about them. Some people said that a big shot like Ji Fei wouldn't be interested in a drunken girl like Hong Zhui. Others said that Ji Fei had taken a liking to Hong Zhui since a long time ago. Otherwise, why didn't he punish Hong Zhui after she had teased him? During this period, the rumors about Ji Fei and Hong Zhui had troubled Hong Zhun greatly. Of course, in his opinion, if Ji Fei really took a liking to his granddaughter, it would be great news for the Grand Mist Divine Race. If that happened, the Grand Mist Divine Race would be able to get rid of their status as Ji Fei's servants. They would be able to turn over and become the master of the Grand Mist Divine Race. The difference between the Grand Mist Divine Race and the Yang clan was like the difference between heaven and earth. However, the Hongmeng Divine clan was uneasy as Ji Fei had never mentioned the matter again after that. Since Ji Fei didn't mention it again, no one dared to. "Master, why do we have to ride horses? We can just fly there." Hong Zhun transmitted a message to Ji Fei. He was a bit anxious, because someone wanted to do something to his granddaughter. However, what puzzled Hong Zhun was that Ji Fei actually wanted them to ride the Black Dragon colts to the hunting grounds. Even though the Black Dragon colts were divine steeds nurtured by the Grand Mist Divine Race, they were nothing more than divine steeds. However, no matter how godly a Black Dragon colt was, it was impossible for it to be faster than flight. "That's more like hunting," Ji Fei said. He was enjoying the fun of hunting. If he wanted to kill those mysterious people, they would have died a long time ago. But what fun was there in killing them all at once? Hong Zhun was even more baffled when he heard that. Suddenly, Ji Fei sensed Yang Wu's divine sense fluctuations. What does she want? Ji Fei could not help but frown. Yang Wu's divine sense had instantly disappeared. Even he had failed to lock onto Yang Wu's exact location. Who cares? Ji Fei wanted to enjoy the fun of hunting, so he ignored Yang Wu. The two of them shared the same life. If one of them died, the other would have to follow. Therefore, Ji Fei was not afraid that Yang Wu would harm him. Under Hong Zhun's lead, dozens of people rode on the Black Dragon colts. They were like a black gust of wind as they sped across the plains. The Black Dragon colt's speed was not bad. Very soon, Hong Zhun led a dozen of his subordinates to the entrance of the hunting grounds. Outside the hunting grounds, the disciples of the primordial Chaos Divine clan who had received news of ancestor Hong Zhun's arrival stood respectfully on both sides of the entrance to welcome him. "How long has Zhuiya been in there?" Hong Zhun dismounted from his horse and grabbed the steward of the hunting grounds who was about to salute him. He roared at the steward and spat on his face. This, replying to ancestor, "Miss Zhuiya has been in there for more than half a day." The hunting grounds steward panicked and replied hurriedly. "What? More than half a day?" Hong Zhun was dumbfounded. More than half a day had passed. Didn't that mean his precious granddaughter was in danger? When he thought of this, he couldn't help but glance at Ji Fei. Seeing that Ji Fei was still as calm as before, he felt a little relieved. "Activate the formation and seal off the entire hunting grounds. No one is allowed to leave without my orders." Hong Zhen roared at the steward of the hunting ground. Yes, yes, yes. The steward of the hunting ground was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. The aura coming from Hong Zhen's body made him tremble with fear. Hong Zhen was an extreme Tao realm ancestor of the primordial chaos divine clan. Hong Zhen directly threw the steward of the hunting grounds to one side, then led a group of subordinates, abandoning the black dragon colt that they were riding, and rushed into the hunting grounds. There were naturally people to deal with the black dragon colts. As soon as Hong Zhen and the rest entered the hunting grounds, the formation was activated. A layer of divine light appeared above the mountain range and enveloped the entire hunting grounds. Spread out and search. Hong Zhen ordered his subordinates. Yes. The dozens of subordinates Hong Zhen had brought with him obeyed the order and rushed into the mountain range. However, there was one person who didn't move. It was as though he hadn't heard Hong Zhen's order. When all the men disappeared from his sight, Hong Zhen eagerly ran up to the man. "Master, what should we do next?" Hong Zhen asked cautiously. "Let me see your hunting skills." Ji Yufei looked at Hong Zhen with a faint smile. "Yes, master." In the next moment, Hong Zhen seemed to have become a different person. His entire aura changed. Hong Zhen immediately displayed his superb hunting ability. Very soon, he found the traces left behind by Hong Zui and followed it all the way. Although he had found the traces left behind by Hong Zui and her maidservant, he didn't summon his subordinates because he knew that Ji Yufei didn't want his subordinates to follow him. However, a half-step extreme Tao realm expert called Hong Peng appeared nearby and caught up to Hong Zhen and Ji Yufei. This was because this disciple of the primordial chaos divine clan had also found Hong Zui's traces. With Hong Peng around, Hong Zhen and Ji Yufei naturally couldn't speak casually because Ji Yufei didn't want to expose his identity. They followed the traces all the way to the valley where the Chaos Wolf King's lair was located. They saw the mess on the other side of the valley. After the Chaos Wolf King had smashed the short mountain, the entire area was filled with gravel and dust. The entire area had been destroyed. That is, Hong Zhen found a corpse. It was one of the two maidservants that Hong Zui had brought with her. Damn it! Hong Zhen was shaking with anger. Chapter 5488. Hong Zhen, Ji Yufei, and the half-step extreme Tao realm expert Hong Peng found the Chaos Wolf King's lair. When they saw the mess outside the valley, they were shocked and enraged. Moreover, they found the corpse of Hong Zui's maid. Even though she was a maid, she was still a member of the primordial divine race. Those people actually dared to kill a member of the primordial divine race. This was equivalent to declaring war on the primordial divine race. At this time, Ji Yufei hid his identity. He was currently a subordinate of Grand Mist God Race's old ancestor Hong Zhen, with a peak eternal realm cultivation. To Ji Yufei, controlling his aura and vital energy fluctuations was a piece of cake. Moreover, no one could see through his cultivation. This was because no one's cultivation was higher than his. How could anyone with a cultivation lower than Ji Yufei see through Ji Yufei's cultivation? If he wanted to conceal his strength, even an infinite prime like Yang Wu wouldn't be able to see through Ji Yufei's cultivation, let alone others. "Go in and take a look," Hong Peng said to Ji Yufei. Hong Zhen was shocked. Hong Peng actually dared to order his master around. "All right." Ji Yufei smiled and nodded. He took a step forward and entered the valley. In fact, he didn't need to enter the valley to know everything. However, he was currently Hong Zhen's subordinate in the peak eternal realm. Therefore, with Ji Yufei's current identity, Hong Peng could order him around. There was no other reason. In the primordial divine race, those with higher cultivation had the right to order those with lower cultivation. This was the principle of the strong being respected. Indeed, the strong being respected. This was also why the primordial divine race could become the ancestor of the primordial divine race as long as their cultivation broke through to the extreme Tao realm. Hong Peng was a half-step extreme Tao realm expert. Naturally, he could order around the current Ji Yufei. "Ancestor, why are you looking at me like that?" At this time, Hong Peng realized that the ancestor Hong Zhen was glaring at him. From the looks of it, Hong Zhen was about to pounce on him and tear him apart. "Ah, nothing." Hong Zhen realized that he had lost his composure and hurriedly turned around. His hands were clenched into fists, and his entire body was trembling. He really could not help but beat up Hong Peng just now. That was the master. This guy actually dared to order the master around. Hong Zhen was about to go crazy. Hong Peng, on the other hand, was baffled. He had no idea that he had done something that would drive Hong Zhen crazy. Ji Yufei quickly walked out of the valley. There's nothing inside. Ji Yufei said. Let's go in and have a look. As Hong Zhen spoke, he entered the valley with Hong Peng and Ji Yufei. Then, they saw more traces of fighting. The people who left these marks were Hong Zui and the three mysterious experts. With Hong Zhen's tracking skills, he quickly found the direction in which Hong Zui and the others had left the valley. Zui is being attacked by 3 people. Hong Zhen sneered. What are we waiting for? Ji Yufei said. Hong Zhen followed the traces left behind by Hong Zui. Ji Yufei followed behind Hong Zhen unhurriedly. Even Hong Peng, who did not know Ji Yufei's identity, could not help but look at Ji Yufei a few more times. Before long, there was a fluctuation of yuan qi in front of them. Hong Zhen did not think too much about it and immediately rushed forward. Several figures were chasing after one another in the mountains. A figure was fleeing in front, while 3 black figures were chasing after him. You 3 bastards, you deserve to die. Hong Zhen roared and soared into the sky, pouncing towards the people chasing after each other in the mountains. His roar reverberated through the mountains. What, extreme Dao realm, run! The 3 mysterious people in black were shocked when they saw Hong Zhen pouncing towards them. The 3 of them could not be bothered to chase after Hong Zui and fled in different directions. Hong Zhen was the ancestor of the primordial divine clan and had a powerful cultivation base in the extreme Dao realm. Such an existence was not someone they could fight. Where do you think you're going? Hong Zhen was infuriated. These people actually dared to kill a member of the primordial divine clan. They really deserve to die. Hong Zhen's body blurred, and in the next moment, 3 Hong Zhens appeared in the void. These 3 Hong Zhens immediately chased after the 3 mysterious people who were fleeing in different directions. External doppelganger? Ji Yufei was a little surprised that Hong Zhen had actually cultivated this kind of martial path remarkable ability. The ancestor is finally here. Only then did Hong Zui stop and take a break. These 3 detestable people were really hard to deal with, especially one of them who was proficient in poison techniques. His ability to release poison was not to be underestimated. Hong Zui was still 1 step away from breaking through the shackles of her cultivation base and becoming a true ancestor of the extreme Dao realm. If it weren't for these 3 people causing trouble, she would have broken through to the extreme Dao realm long ago. Ancestor, I'll be leaving first. Hong Zui roared in Hong Zhen's direction and soared into the sky, disappearing into the mountains. She had to find a place to make her final breakthrough as soon as possible. What could be more important than breaking through her current cultivation base? Hong Zui didn't even see Ji Yufei. At that moment, the 3 figures that Hong Zhen had transformed into had already caught up to the 3 mysterious people. Hong Zhen didn't have any subordinates, so he directly attacked. The 3 mysterious people couldn't even withstand a single attack from Hong Zhen's doppelganger and were instantly killed. This was how powerful and terrifying our extreme Dao realm ancestor was. In the eyes of other living beings on the Flame Planet, our extreme Dao realm ancestor was synonymous with power. Hong Zhen, how dare you kill my people? Just as Hong Zhen killed the 3 mysterious experts, an angry roar came from the distance. In the next moment, a figure appeared in the sky above the mountains, and a powerful extreme Dao realm aura descended from the sky. The entire sky darkened, and a terrifying devil Dao aura swept across the sky. The primordial demons. At that moment, 3 figures charged at each other. Hong Zhen's figure appeared in the sky, and he looked coldly at the demonic figure in front of him. Kill. The demonic figure roared angrily and threw a punch at Hong Zhen. They're going to fight just because they don't like each other? Ji Yufei couldn't help but frown when he saw this. The extreme Dao realm great demon of the primordial demons was very murderous. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Hong Zhen sneered and slapped the demonic figure with his palm. A powerful palm force surged from his palm, and the surrounding sand and pebbles were sent flying. Bam! The fist and the palm collided with each other, producing a dull sound. The two figures separated in an instant. The palm force that came from the sky directly swept away the trees on the mountains, and the mountains were in chaos. The two extreme Tao realm experts started fighting. Chapter 54-89. Before the flame world was destroyed, the primordial demons were already one of the 10 strongest factions in the flame world. There were countless experts among the demons, and the primordial demon lord was even more mysterious. No one had ever seen his true face. There was actually no suspense in this matter. It was all because of the primordial demons. They wanted to capture Hong Zui and control her. Unfortunately, the primordial demons did not expect that Hong Zui's cultivation realm would actually break through at this time. 3 half-step extreme Dao experts could not capture Hong Zui. This made the primordial demon's ancestor, Meng Lian, very depressed. He had no choice but to rush over personally. However, just as Meng Lian arrived, he saw Hong Zhen execute his mystique and kill the 3 subordinates he sent out. As a result, the 2 extreme Dao powerhouses began to fight. They fought from the sky to the ground, and from the ground to the sky. Powerful extreme Dao level power spread out, and dust flew everywhere in the mountain ridges. Rocks flew everywhere, and it was a mess. Countless beasts in the mountain range fled in fear. The Chaos Wolf King hid as far away as it could. This was because a battle of this level was no longer something a half-step extreme Dao expert could interfere with. Of course, anyone who was tired of living could interfere. It was obvious that the Chaos Wolf King had not lived long enough. Hong Zhen was a little depressed. His granddaughter actually ran away after seeing him. Ji Yufei was a little bored from afar. A battle of extreme Dao experts. Hong Peng, who was beside Ji Yufei, was extremely excited. One should know that a battle of this level was not something he could encounter often. Especially now that he was a half-step extreme Dao expert. This battle was crucial to whether or not he could break through to the true extreme Dao realm. If he could comprehend something from this battle, he would have a chance to break through to the true extreme Dao realm. Brother, why are you so happy? Ji Yufei smiled. He was only Hong Zhen's subordinate below the extreme Dao. Do you know how to address me as uncle? Hong Peng was a little displeased with this guy who interrupted his spectating. Uncle? When Ji Yufei heard this, he laughed. In this world, there was probably not a single person who dared to be his uncle. This guy was amazing, he actually wanted him to call him uncle. Don't disturb me while I'm watching the battle, understand? Hong Peng said bluntly. I know. However, it's impossible for you to gain enlightenment from this battle and break through to the extreme Dao realm. Ji Yufei said indifferently. What did you say? Hong Peng was even more displeased when he heard this. Haha, forget what I said. Ji Yufei shrugged. Don't pretend to understand in front of me, okay? Hong Peng didn't have any good expression towards Ji Yufei because his cultivation was higher than Ji Yufei's. Therefore, he could bully Ji Yufei. After all, the weak were prey to the strong. As for Hong Peng, he believed that he understood this truth better than anyone else. Therefore, he had always been strong in front of those who were weaker than him. Okay. Ji Yufei said. If this guy knew who he was talking to, he would probably pee in his pants. However, Ji Yufei wanted to enjoy this kind of fun. Hong Peng didn't bother with Ji Yufei anymore. This was because the battle between Hong Zhen and the demon expert was very important to him. He didn't have time to talk nonsense with Ji Yufei. At this moment, Hong Zhen and the demon expert fought from the sky to the ground. The primordial divine race and the primordial demons were sworn enemies. If the two races met, they would definitely fight to the death. Meng Lian, you sneaky bastard. You're still as despicable as ever, Hong Zhen said angrily as he attacked. TCH, Hong Zhen, you're not much better than me. The demon expert sneered. Heavenly slaying demon blade. The primordial demons expert, Meng Lian, roared. In the next moment, he used his hands as a blade and slashed at Hong Zhen at extreme speed. Streaks of saber radiance shot out from his hand and slashed at Hong Zhen in an overwhelming manner. Primordial sky-splitting fist. Hong Zhen didn't back down. He immediately used the primordial sky-splitting fist of the primordial divine race. Countless fist shadows rushed out to meet the blade light. The fist shadows and blade light collided. Then, the fist shadows and blade light disappeared. Two powerful forces of the extreme Tao erupted. Both of them wanted to kill each other. However, their cultivation levels were the same and their battle strength was about the same. They were both ruthless people who had climbed out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Be it Hong Zhen or Meng Lian, they were both ruthless people. It wouldn't be easy for the two of them to determine a winner and decide who lives and dies. Violent energy ripples spread out in all directions. Countless trees were torn to shreds. Even huge boulders that weighed thousands of kilograms were swept up into the air and shattered into pieces. The energy storm swept towards the place where Ji Yufei and the others were. *T. Hong Peng turned around and fled. He didn't care about Ji Yufei's life or death. The competition within the primordial divine race was fierce. Everyone wanted to rise up the ranks. In Hong Peng's opinion, once the fellow beside him broke through to the half-step extreme Tao realm, he would be on the same level as Hong Peng in the primordial divine race. Therefore, Hong Peng didn't want to save Ji Yufei. However, Hong Peng didn't know that the person in front of him didn't need his help. This fellow, Ji Yufei, shook his head helplessly and fled. He didn't like Hong Peng. This fellow was cold-blooded. One had to know that Hong Peng was a member of the primordial divine race. Hong Peng was cold-blooded to his own race. One could imagine that Hong Peng was someone who would do anything to achieve his goals. Hong Zhen and Meng Lian were fighting with all their might. They no longer held back. The two of them seemed to have gone mad. They attacked without any scruples in the mountain ridge. The entire mountain ridge was immediately affected. Wherever they passed, the mountain ridges would collapse. There was nothing in the mountain range that could stop them. By this time, the disciples of the Grand Mist divine race outside the mountain ridge were already dumbfounded by the commotion inside. Who is ancestor Hong Zhen fighting with? Soaring Devil Chi. Could it be the Grand Mist devil race's extreme Tao devils? The disciples of the primordial divine race were usually in charge of the hunting grounds. They weren't core disciples of the primordial divine race, so they were at a loss. In the primordial divine race, there was a strict hierarchy. These disciples who were in charge of the hunting grounds had never seen such a big scene before. At this time, in the depths of the hunting grounds, demon chi soared into the sky. Powerful fluctuations of origin chi spread out, and the disciples outside the hunting grounds were terrified. That's a bit too much. Ji Yufei, who had retreated, couldn't help but frown when he saw the murderous aura and the billowing dust in the mountain ridge. Chapter 5490. The primordial divine tribe's hunting grounds would be completely destroyed in the battle between Hong Zhen and Meng Lian. This was a training ground that the primordial divine tribe had operated for hundreds of years. It was a place to train the younger generation of the primordial divine tribe. If it was destroyed, the primordial divine tribe would suffer a huge loss. However, the ancestors of the primordial divine tribe were busy building the teleportation array for Ji Yufei. None of them had the time to kill Meng Lian. What's going on? Hong Sheng, who was in the primordial divine city, had already sensed the commotion 100 miles away. Focus. If you fail, I'll beat you to death. Chaotic Heaven Holy Master scolded Hong Sheng as soon as he was distracted. Yes, Hong Sheng replied hurriedly. At this time, the array formation of the teleportation array platform had reached its most critical moment. Whether it could succeed or not depended on the success of the core array formation. Even Hong Sheng and Yang Huatian, who were sworn enemies, had no choice but to join forces temporarily. Neither of them dared to be careless. The ancestor of the Grand Mist divine race and the ancestor of the Flame Clan were busy working on the battle platform. None of them were idle. While the two races' ancestors were busy building the teleportation array, Hong Zhen was fighting Meng Lian, the ancestor of the primordial demons, in the primordial divine tribe's hunting grounds. Hong Zhen had no qualms about fighting Meng Lian because he knew that Ji Yufei wouldn't allow him to be killed by Meng Lian. Therefore, Hong Zhen didn't hold back. He used all his strength in every attack. Powerful energy erupted from his body, causing the void to tremble. Kill. Meng Lian was also fighting with his life on the line. Shadow after shadow of the demonic saber condensed around him and slashed at Hong Zhen in an overwhelming manner. Every streak of blade light slashed through the void, leaving a hair-thin crack in the void. Hong Zhen brandished his fists and smashed the saber radiance that came slashing at him. A ferocious fist force surged out from Hong Zhen's fist. Not a single blade light could get within 3 feet of him. Meng Lian, you've regressed. Hong Zhen sneered. TSK, you too. Meng Lian sneered. Go to hell. Hong Zhen exploded with power. This time, he used all of his strength. All of his power was gathered in his right fist, and then he punched out. This punch was the strongest punch Hong Zhen could throw, be it in terms of speed or power. Countless demonic saber lights were shattered by Hong Zhen's punch. Seeing that Hong Zhen was going all out, Meng Lian did not dare to be careless. He put his hands together above his head, and countless knife shadows immediately gathered in his hands. Kill. Meng Lian slashed at Hong Zhen's fist with all his might. These two lunatics are finally going to decide the victor. Ji Yufei couldn't help but sigh when he saw this scene from afar. In fact, with his current cultivation base, he already knew the outcome of the battle the moment the two of them exchanged blows. It couldn't be helped. His cultivation was much higher than these two fellows. Boom! There was a loud bang. In the next moment, the two figures were sent flying. A powerful destructive force swept out in all directions, and countless trees were destroyed. A terrifying energy storm spread out, and everything within a radius of a few hundred miles was completely destroyed. Countless living beings in the mountains were finished. These living beings didn't even have the chance to escape. This was what it meant when immortals fought, mortals suffered. Hong Peng was frightened by this scene and immediately turned to escape. Ji Yufei, on the other hand, was still standing there. He didn't care about the terrifying destructive storm that was sweeping towards him at all. This guy is crazy. Hong Peng saw that Ji Yufei didn't escape, so he wouldn't attack him. He deserves to die. Hong Peng immediately ran away without a trace. The destructive storm that was sweeping towards him drowned Ji Yufei. The destructive storm that could destroy everything in Hong Meng's eyes couldn't even enter the 3 feet of void in front of Ji Yufei. Boom! There was another loud bang. Hong Zhen and Meng Lian were fighting with all their might. Both of them attacked each other without any regard for their lives. Hong Zhen and Meng Lian were sent flying again. Bam! Hong Zhen crashed into a mountain ridge, creating a huge hole in the mountain ridge. Countless gravel flew out and smashed into the mountain ridge. Meng Lian, on the other hand, fell to the ground and slid for dozens of miles before coming to a stop, creating a deep trench that was dozens of miles long. Hong Zhen, you bastard! Meng Lian lay on the ground, constantly coughing up blood. His clothes were tattered, and there were bloody wounds on his arms. Demon blood kept oozing out from the wounds. An extreme demon of his generation was actually injured. Moreover, the wounds on Meng Lian's arms couldn't be healed in a short time. Hong Zhen fell into a forest. He lay on the damp ground, panting heavily. Meng Lian's cultivation has improved by quite a bit. Hong Zhen was also shocked. Meng Lian's heaven-slaying demon blade was indeed worthy of being the primordial demon's clan guarding blade technique. Hong Zhen's body was covered in cuts, and he was covered in blood. Some of the cuts were so deep that bones could be seen. The heaven-slaying demon blade was the primordial demon's trump card. However, the primordial heaven-opening fist of the primordial divine race was not to be trifled with. At that moment, the destructive storm swept past. Ji Yufei was still standing in the void, calm and composed. Not even a strand of his hair was missing. How is this possible? Hong Peng, who had escaped far away, saw Ji Yufei standing in the void. His eyeballs almost fell to the ground. How did this guy survive? Hong Peng couldn't believe it. One had to know that it was a destructive force formed by two great extreme-grade powerhouses fighting with all their might. The power of two great extreme-grade powerhouses was mixed together. Even Hong Peng would not be able to withstand such a destructive force and would be instantly killed. However, how could this guy, who wasn't even in the extreme Dao realm, withstand such a destructive force? Could it be that he has an eternal-level protective Dao weapon? A thought flashed through Hong Peng's mind, and he thought of a possibility. That must be it. Hong Peng murmured. Both sides are injured, Ji Yufei muttered to himself. Hong Zhen and Meng Lian had fought to the point where both sides were injured. It was difficult for either side to kill the other. Hong Zhen, I'll settle the score with you next time. Meng Lian crushed a jade talisman as he spoke. In the next moment, a ball of demonic light enveloped him and he was about to leave. However, at that moment, a figure appeared in the sky above Meng Lian without any warning. The moment this person appeared, the entire void seemed to freeze. Meng Lian, who was shrouded in demonic light, was frozen in the void. How is this possible? Meng Lian, who was shrouded in demonic light, was shocked. Who is this guy? Chapter 5491. In the primordial divine clan's hunting ground, Hong Zhen and Meng Lian of the primordial demons were both heavily injured. Just as Meng Lian was about to leave, a figure suddenly appeared above him. He felt as if the void around him had solidified. Even Meng Lian's void-breaching devil escape talisman had lost its effect. Meng Lian was scared out of his wits by the sudden appearance of this person. A strong pressure descended from the sky and pinned Meng Lian to the ground. Meng Lian was shocked to find that he couldn't even move a finger, let alone stand up from the ground. Who are you? Meng Lian said with difficulty. You don't have the right to know who I am. Ji Yufei said indifferently. What? Meng Lian was even more shocked. Was this guy an Eternal Realm ancestor? An Eternal Realm ancestor could easily crush an Extreme Dao Realm expert. In front of an Eternal Realm expert, an Extreme Dao Realm expert was as weak as an ant. Tell me, how do you want to die? Ji Yufei's tone was emotionless. I don't want to die, Meng Lian said through gritted teeth. That's not up to you. Ji Yufei's tone was still as cold as ever. You're just an Eternal Realm expert. How dare you attack us juniors? Do you have any shame? Meng Lian roared. He thought that the person in front of him was an Eternal Realm expert of the primordial divine clan. Otherwise, how could he have been so powerless to resist? Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that the person in front of him was one of the 3 strongest supremes on the Flame Star. If Meng Lian knew about Ji Yufei's background, he would have wet his pants. An Eternal Realm expert? Ji Yufei couldn't help laughing. Yes, you really don't have the right to kill me. Ji Yufei nodded. Meng Lian was pleasantly surprised. As long as this guy didn't attack him, he wouldn't die. Ji Yufei thought for a moment, then flipped his right hand. A ball of divine light filled with vitality immediately appeared in his hand and turned into a ball of light. What do you want? When Meng Lian saw that Ji Yufei was about to attack, he was shocked again. Ji Yufei waved his right hand, and the ball of divine light in his hand flew out, instantly disappearing into the void without a trace. Seeing this, Meng Lian was puzzled. At the next moment, in the forest where Hong Zhen was, a ball of divine light descended from the sky and entered his body. This is, Hong Zhen, who was lying on the ground, jumped in fright. However, he immediately felt an extremely tremendous life force spreading through his body. Then, Hong Zhen's injuries healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Hong Zhen slowly stood up from the ground. The injuries on his body were healed in an instant. His vitality spread throughout his body. Not only had his injuries healed, but even his cultivation realm was showing signs of breaking through. Hurry up and get over here. At that moment, Ji Yufei's voice sounded in Hong Zhen's mind. Yes, Hong Zhen was shocked. It was only then that he realized that his master was helping him. Only his master would have the means to do so. He hurriedly flew out of the forest and rushed in the direction where Ji Yufei was. Soon, he arrived behind Ji Yufei. Greetings, master. Hong Zhen knelt down in fear at Ji Yufei. Master. Meng Lian, who was on the ground, was dumbfounded when he saw Hong Zhen bowing down to this person. I'll leave this guy to you. Ji Yufei said before disappearing into the void. Before Hong Zhen could react, Ji Yufei had already left. Meng Lian, to think that you would have such a day. Hong Zhen slowly stood up in the void and stared coldly at Meng Lian on the ground. How is this possible? How did you recover so quickly? This is impossible. Meng Lian could not help but feel shocked when he sensed the powerful aura on Hong Zhen's body. Wasn't this guy seriously injured just like him? How was it possible that he was not injured at all? Nothing is impossible. You can die now. Hong Zhen did not hesitate as he punched at Meng Lian. Meng Lian wanted to say something. However, Hong Zhen did not give him a chance to speak. Boom. The violent fist force slammed into Meng Lian's body. Meng Lian's body exploded and turned into a bloody mist. His body and soul were completely destroyed. After killing Meng Lian, Hong Zhen appeared beside Hong Peng in a flash. Old ancestor, Hong Peng jumped in fright. Go gather the others and return. Hong Zhen looked at Hong Peng and said coldly, yes. Hong Peng acknowledged the order and left to gather the others. The battle between Hong Zhen and Meng Lian had already alerted Hong Zhen's subordinates. However, Hong Zhen's subordinates could not interfere in a battle of this level. They had all fled as far as they could. It was not an easy task to gather them now. Hong Zhen couldn't care less as he returned to the Hongmeng Divine City. At the same time, in the center of the Hongmeng Divine City, a teleportation array platform the size of a small hill stood tall. Ancient and mysterious runes flashed across the platform. The entire teleportation array platform was bustling with activity. The ancestors of the primordial divine race and the Flame Clan were busy. Still not done. When Ji Yufei returned to the Grand Mist Divine City, he couldn't help but frown when he saw that Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was still instructing the two races' ancestors to set up the formation runes. He returned to the City Lord's manor. Holy Master Chaotic Heavens led the ancestors of the primordial divine race and the Flame Clan to work on the teleportation array platform for 10 days and 10 nights. On the morning of the 11th day, a beam of divine light shot into the sky without any warning. The dazzling divine light pierced through the void, and no one knew where it had gone. Success! In the City Lord's manor, Ji Yufei, who was sitting cross-legged on his throne, opened his eyes. In the next moment, he disappeared into the void. When he reappeared, he was already in the sky above the teleportation array platform. You're here. Holy Master Chaotic Heavens welcomed Ji Yufei the moment he saw him. Greetings, Master. The ancestors of the two powerful clans hurriedly knelt down in front of Ji Yufei, who had just appeared in the sky. Rise. Ji Yufei said indifferently. It's done. Holy Master Chaotic Heavens said excitedly. He didn't want to stay on the Flame Star any longer. He couldn't wait to activate the teleportation array platform and return to the Void World. Well done. Ji Yufei was also excited. That day, he had been forced to use the teleportation array platform. It was an absolute humiliation to him. He wanted to return to the Void World. He wondered how Holy Master Void Sky's clones would react if they saw him in the Void World. Chapter 5492. Cheers resounded throughout Hongmeng Divine City as the teleportation array platform in the square was finally completed. The beam of divine light that shot out of Hongmeng Divine City tore through the void and disappeared. Powerful origin energy rippled in all directions. In the ancestral city of the Grand Mist Demon Clan, Yang Wu opened her eyes the moment the streak of divine light shot out of the Grand Mist Divine City. What's going on? Yang Wu was indescribably shocked. She felt an extremely powerful energy fluctuation, and it was coming from the direction of the Grand Mist Divine Clan where Ji Yufei was. What the hell is Ji Yufei doing? In the next moment, Yang Wu disappeared from the ancestral city of Hongmeng Divine City. When she reappeared, she was already in the sky above Hongmeng Divine City. For an infinite-grade existence like Yang Wu, as long as her spirit consciousness could reach a place, she could reach it in an instant. Yang Wu was taken aback when she saw the teleportation formation platform in the center of Hongmeng Divine City's plaza. With her cultivation and knowledge, she could tell at a glance that this teleportation formation was extraordinary. It was an infinite-grade teleportation array platform. Is Jiu Fei really going back? Yang Wu was bewildered. I didn't expect you to come so quickly. A figure appeared beside Yang Wu. This person was naturally Jiu Fei. In the current era, the only person who could appear beside Yang Wu and dared to do so was Jiu Fei. They were in a life-and-death relationship. If one of them died, the other would be buried with him. The other person would also be buried with them. Therefore, not only did they want to live well, they also wanted the other person to live well. Are you really going back? Yang Wu looked at Jiu Fei with a solemn expression. Of course I'm going back. Jiu Fei spoke indifferently. He recalled the scene when he was forced to step onto the teleportation platform by those fellows, and he felt extremely displeased when he thought of this. This was especially so for Sacred Lord Void Sky. That fellow had almost killed Jiu Fei. How could Jiu Fei not avenge this enmity? Since he couldn't find Sacred Lord Void Sky himself to take revenge, he would find his clone and collect some interest. Furthermore, there was still the limitless Demon Lord. That fella was extremely hateful. When he returned this time around, he would definitely take his revenge. He wanted to let those guys know that they would have to pay the price for offending him. Jiu Fei. When are you leaving? Yang Wu asked. Right away. Jiu Fei said. What? Hearing this, Yang Wu was taken aback. Jiu Fei was going to leave the Flame Star so soon? Once you leave, this place will be my world. Yang Wu said. TSK, do we still need to draw such a clear line between us? Jiu Fei smiled. What do you mean? Hearing this, Yang Wu raised her eyebrows and glared at Jiu Fei angrily. Haha, the ruler of the flame world, to think that there would be a day when she would marry someone. At this time, an old voice sounded, and a figure appeared in front of Yang Wu. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had arrived. In fact, he had already sensed Yang Wu the moment she appeared. However, with his current cultivation, he wasn't a match for Yang Wu. How could he not come out and mock the former ruler of the flame world? One should know that in the past, he had often teased the high and mighty ruler of the flame world. However, he, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven, had the cultivation and combat strength to look down on the world. Now, he didn't even have half of his previous cultivation. You still dare to appear in front of me? Seeing Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven, Yang Wu immediately thought of Sacred Lord Void Sky. She had been tricked by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Even the flame world had been destroyed by Sacred Lord Void Sky. As the ruler of the flame world, Yang Wu's hatred towards Sacred Lord Void Sky was absolutely irreconcilable. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was Sacred Lord Void Sky's senior brother. Since Sacred Lord Void Sky's junior brother had run away, this debt would naturally fall on Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. At the thought of this, a shocking murderous aura erupted from Yang Wu's body. The entire sky changed color, and countless people in Hongmeng Divine City were terrified. They were terrified to the extreme, and the fear came from the depths of their souls. What are you trying to do? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven stared at Yang Wu coldly. What do you think? Yang Wu could still control herself when she wasn't in front of Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. However, now that she was in front of him, she couldn't control herself. Moreover, this fellow actually dared to mock her. Don't act recklessly. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven panicked a little, but he forced himself to remain calm. Bam! In the next moment, Holy Master Muddy Heaven's vision turned black as Yang Wu's punch landed on his face. Yang Wu's punch wasn't weak, and it sent Holy Master Muddy Heaven flying out of Hongmeng Divine City. Boom! A loud explosion resounded as a mountain range several hundred miles away from the Hongmeng Divine City was blasted apart. Needless to say, this mountain wouldn't have exploded for no reason. The reason this mountain had exploded was because of Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's collision. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was sent flying by Yang Wu's punch, and he smashed into a mountain ridge. A mountain ridge exploded after Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven crashed into it. Rocks flew everywhere, and dust rose into the sky. Countless living beings on the mountain ridge suffered a calamity. Of course, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven didn't care about the lives of those ants. Yang Wu, are you crazy? Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven rushed back from afar and roared at Yang Wu. He was covered in dust, and there was a black circle around his left eye where Yang Wu had punched him. He was in a sorry state. Ji Yufei was taken aback. Since when did Yang Wu become so violent? Why would she fight over a disagreement? Although Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had only recovered 30% to 40% of his cultivation base, he was still an infinite prime. It wouldn't be easy for Yang Wu to kill him. Moreover, Ji Yufei wouldn't allow Yang Wu to kill Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. One had to know that Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was his subordinate. An infinite prime subordinate who was also Sacred Lord Void Sky's senior brother. With such a subordinate, Sacred Lord Void Sky would have a high chance of defeating Sacred Lord Void Sky in the future. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky wouldn't have expected that he would let his senior brother out. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had been harmed so badly by Sacred Lord Void Sky. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was probably more ruthless than anyone else. No matter what, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven couldn't avoid a beating. Yang Wu didn't bother talking to Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven anymore. How could Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven be a match for Yang Wu? He was completely suppressed by Yang Wu, and he couldn't even retaliate. This was the difference between Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven and Yang Wu. "Sai, why do you have to do this?" Ji Yufei shook his head helplessly. He didn't make a move, as he knew that Yang Wu wanted to vent. Moreover, it wasn't a big deal for Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven to be beaten up by Yang Wu, right? Chapter 5493. A shocking scene played out in the sky above Hongmeng Divine City. On the plaza, the Fire Clan and Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestors' eyes nearly popped out of their sockets when they saw the scene in the sky. This was because the Supreme Infinite Prime in their eyes, the Sacred Lord of Chaotic Heaven, had actually been viciously abused by a woman in white. She had abused him to the point where he wanted to die. In the eyes of the Fire Clan and Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestors, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven was an invincible existence. Who would have thought that such a supreme expert would be beaten up by a woman in white? Muffled bangs resounded from the sky. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven was really unlucky today. He was beaten up by Yang Wu, which made him feel so depressed that he almost vomited blood. Yang Wu had beaten Holy Master Chaotic Heavens into a miserable state. Holy Master Chaotic Heavens was beaten up so badly that he didn't even look human. She continued to abuse Holy Master Chaotic Heaven for a full 2 hours before stopping. "This guy's skin is really thick. Even my hand hurts when he hits me." Yang Wu rubbed her hands and said. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven almost fainted from anger. "Master, I think we should leave." Holy Master Chaotic Heaven said to Ji Yufei with a bloody nose and swollen face. He didn't want to stay on the Flame Star any longer because Yang Wu was too fierce. Who knew if she would torture him again? His voice sounded like it was leaking air as Yang Wu had knocked out a few of his teeth. When had Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven ever been beaten up like this? Even when he was plotted against by Holy Lord Shu Tian and imprisoned in the valley, he had never been beaten up by Holy Lord Shu Tian. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven was really afraid that Yang Wu would go crazy again. "Then let's go," Ji Yufei said and left without hesitation. In a flash, he appeared on the plaza's teleportation array. Where are they going? The Fire Clan and Grand Mist Divine Race's ancestors were dumbfounded. What would they do if their master left? One had to know that the enmity between the Fire Clan and Grand Mist Divine Race had only been resolved because of Ji Yufei. Once Ji Yufei left, the conflict between the two clans would erupt again. This was something that could be predicted. Due to Ji Yufei's presence, the Flame Clan and Grand Mist Divine Race were apprehensive. If Ji Yufei wasn't here to suppress the two clans, the old ancestors of the two clans would have fought with their lives on the line. "Master, wait for me." Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven hurriedly gave chase. It was impossible for Ji Yufei to return to the Void Realm without Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's help. Only Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven could accurately locate the Void Realm. After all, the Void World was simply too far away from the Flame Star. Even if Ji Yufei was at the peak of the Great Realm, he couldn't sense the location of the ethereal extent in the endless primal chaos. However, Holy Master Chaotic Heaven was different. He had left a drop of his heart's blood in the Void Realm, So no matter where he was or how far he was from the Void Realm, he could accurately sense the location of the Void Realm. Using one's heart's blood as a guide was no joke. This was the trump card that Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had left behind. Even Sacred Lord Void Sky didn't know that Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had such a trump card. Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven was also a ruthless person. Even though he had been plotted against by Sacred Lord Void Sky, imprisoned for countless years, and had his cultivation base absorbed by Sacred Lord Void Sky from time to time, he still hadn't revealed this secret. However, now that Jiu Fei had planted a restrictive spell on him, his life and death were in Jiu Fei's hands. Jiu Fei wasn't Void Sky. Jiu Fei would really kill him. Therefore, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had no choice but to build a teleportation formation for Jiu Fei to help Jiu Fei return to the Void Realm. "I'll go play with you guys," Yang Wu said as she appeared on the teleportation formation. Jiu Fei smiled and didn't say anything. However, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven looked as if he had nothing left to live for. It seemed like he would be tortured by this crazy woman in the coming days. "Master," when Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng saw that Jiu Fei was really going to leave, they couldn't sit still anymore. "If your two clans start fighting again, I'll definitely destroy you when I return," Jiu Fei said to Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng. "Yes, Master." Yang Huatian and Hong Sheng were so scared that they broke out in a cold sweat. Jiu Fei had planted a restrictive spell on them, so their life and death were in Jiu Fei's hands. Jiu Fei definitely wasn't joking when he said that he would destroy them. At that moment, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven couldn't wait to activate the teleportation formation. The formation inscriptions on the entire teleportation formation lit up. Soon, a ball of divine light emerged from the formation and instantly enveloped the three people on the formation. At that moment, a figure suddenly rushed onto the formation. "What?" Jiu Fei was shocked. Swoosh! A ball of divine light shot up from the formation and instantly shattered the void, disappearing from everyone's sight. Everyone was stunned. Who was that person who rushed onto the formation just now? At that moment, the formation inscriptions on the formation dimmed, and the formation was empty. Jiu Fei and the others had already been teleported out. "What do you think?" The first ancestor of the primordial divine clan, Hong Sheng, said in a trembling voice. "Hong Zhen, you raised a good granddaughter." The second ancestor of the primordial divine clan, Hong Mie, pointed at Hong Zhen and scolded him. At that moment, Hong Zhen was dumbfounded, and a drop of cold sweat trickled down his forehead. His granddaughter had really made him worry so much. The person who had rushed onto the formation was Hong Zui who had just broken through to the extreme Dao realm. The primordial divine clan is really full of hidden talent, Yang Huatian said. Hong Sheng sneered and turned to leave. "I'll give the Yang clan one day to move out of this city." Hong Sheng's voice resounded in the square. "Are you going to fall out with me as soon as Master leaves?" Yang Huatian wasn't afraid of Hong Sheng at all. He knew that Hong Sheng wouldn't dare to do anything to the Yang clan, unless Hong Sheng wanted the two clans to be wiped off the Flamestar by Jiu Fei. Based on Jiu Fei's current cultivation and status, he would definitely do what he said. Moreover, it wasn't difficult for Jiu Fei to annihilate the Yang clan and the primordial divine clan. If Jiu Fei wanted to annihilate the two clans, all he needed to do was think about it, and the two clans' old ancestors would be dead. "This is my territory, and I call the shots here." Hong Sheng's voice resounded again. "I won't leave. What can you do to me?" Yang Huatian rebuked Hong Sheng. "Then I have no choice but to force you out. If anyone dies, it's up to fate." Hong Sheng's attitude was firm. This was the primordial divine city, the territory of the primordial divine clan. It was reasonable for them to ask the Yang clan to leave. Even if a conflict broke out between them and the Yang clan, the master wouldn't say anything. "You win." Yang Huatian was well aware of Hong Sheng's strength, and he didn't want to give Hong Sheng a chance to attack them. "Pack up, let's go," Yang Huatian said to the group of Yang clan's old ancestors. "Yes, old ancestor." The members of the Yang clan started to pack up and leave. Chapter 5494. Although the Void Realm seemed to be peaceful for thousands of years, in fact, The demons were constantly harassing the south. Although it was only a small skirmish, there were signs of a big conflict breaking out in recent years. This was because the limitless demon lord didn't want Gu Fei's forces to continue existing in the Void Realm. At this time, almost all the people loyal to Gu Fei were gathered in the south. Only a few people were scattered in other areas of the Void Realm. The West Sea Dragon clan moved to the south. This was because the relationship between the West Sea Dragon clan and Gu Fei was not ordinary. The little princess of the Dragon clan was Gu Fei's second disciple in the Void Realm. It was because of this relationship between the West Sea Dragon clan and Gu Fei that the West Sea Dragon clan had to move to the south. However, the Sky clan was still in the sky. Whether it was Sacred Lord Shu Tian's incarnation or the Limitless Demon Lord, they didn't dare to have any ideas about the Sky clan. This was because Yu Xian and Ling Tian Palace Master would fuse and become the Limitless Sword Master. The Limitless Sword Master was a ruthless person. He was ruthless to his enemies and even more ruthless to himself. He cultivated himself into two people. This was unprecedented in the Limitless realm. The secret technique that the Limitless Sword Master cultivated had a special characteristic, and that was that it was indestructible. However, she had paid such a huge price in exchange for immortality. Whether it was worth it or not, only she knew. In the Void Realm, no one was willing to provoke the Sky Clan and Ling Tian Palace. Although Yu Xian was also Gu Fei's disciple, her cultivation was only a half-step Limitless Realm expert. If she didn't fuse with Ling Tian Palace Master, she wouldn't be a match for a true Limitless Realm expert like the Limitless Demon Lord. The Limitless Fire Spirit was in a bad situation. He had fallen out with the Limitless Demon Lord. At this time, he was blocked by the Limitless Demon Lord in a valley. "You dare to betray me? Are you tired of living?" The Limitless Demon Lord stood in the sky and looked down at the Limitless Fire Spirit. Although the Limitless Fire Spirit was also a powerful Boundless Realm expert, it was only a low-level Boundless Realm expert. In front of a veteran Boundless Realm expert like the Limitless Demon Master, it was not enough. The Limitless Demon Lord's powerful demonic might surged out from his body. Everything in the valley shattered. Trees, boulders, everything turned into dust. Even the ground started to sink. "You!" The Limitless Fire Spirit was shocked and angry. He did not think that the Limitless Demon Lord would catch up to him so quickly. He had originally been pretending to surrender, and had never truly pledged his allegiance to the Limitless Demon Lord. At that time, Gu Fei was forced by the Limitless Demon Master and the others to step onto the Limitless Realm's teleportation array. The moment Gu Fei left, Gu Fei's forces lost their backbone. The Limitless Fire Spirit immediately pledged allegiance to the Limitless Demon Lord. This caused Xiao Ya and Long Xiaoju to be dumbfounded. But now, the Limitless Fire Spirit finally rebelled. Because the Limitless Demon Lord finally couldn't help but be serious about the southern barbarians. Moreover, the Limitless Demon Lord wanted him to take the lead. In this way, he was dead for sure. Because Gu Fei had once planted a forbidden technique on the Limitless Fire Spirit. If Gu Fei died, the forbidden technique in his body would explode and directly destroy his body and soul. However, the problem was that the Limitless Fire Spirit was still alive and well. So, Gu Fei was still alive, and no one knew when he would return. If he killed Gu Fei's disciples, then when Gu Fei returned, wouldn't he be dead for sure? Either way, he would die. Hence, the Limitless Fire Spirit rebelled. "I'll give you another chance. Go to the southern barbarians now and bring me Xiao Ya's severed head." The Limitless Demon Lord stared coldly at the Limitless Fire Spirit. His blood-colored pupils flashed with a terrifying blood-colored demonic light. "TSK, go and die." The Limitless Fire Spirit directly raised his middle finger at the Limitless Demon Lord in the sky. "Very well, then I will send you on your way." As the Limitless Demon Lord spoke, he slammed his palm down towards the Limitless Fire Spirit below. Rumble, endless demonic energy was vast and mighty. A demonic palm that was bigger than a mountain appeared between heaven and earth, directly crushing towards the Limitless Fire Spirit. Escape! The ground under the Limitless Fire Spirit's feet directly collapsed. In the next moment, he directly escaped into the ground. Boom! With a loud bang, the demonic palm directly smashed down. In the next moment, the entire valley directly collapsed. A circle of dust swept in all directions. This was a terrifying energy storm. Everywhere this energy storm passed, everything was directly torn into pieces. At the same time, a flame rushed out from the ground in the distance, soaring into the sky, and was about to escape. Want to escape? A demonic eye suddenly appeared between the limitless demon lord's eyebrows. Swish! A demonic light directly rushed out from the demonic eye between the limitless demon lord's eyebrows and directly hit the flame in the distant sky. Boom! With a loud bang, the flame fell from the sky to the ground, directly smashing a large pit in the ground. Dust flew everywhere. Monstrous demonic energy enveloped the entire heaven and earth. A terrifying demonic shadow indistinctly appeared in the demonic energy. Its blood-red demonic eye shone with terrifying blood-red light in the demonic energy. The terrifying demonic shadow in the sky looked down at a figure surrounded by flames in the large pit on the ground. How dare you! The limitless fire spirit was shocked and angry. He had endured for thousands of years. In these thousands of years, he madly swallowed the spiritual chi of the world, as well as the chi of other powerful living beings. However, even so, he still realized that the gap between him and the limitless demon lord was still very large. It was so large that he almost could not fight back in front of the limitless demon lord. His cultivation had reached the infinite prime realm. If he wanted to improve further, it would be practically impossible. Thousands of years ago, the limitless fire spirit was at the beginning level of the infinite prime. Thousands of years later, he was still at the beginning level of the infinite prime realm. His cultivation almost did not improve at all. Of course, the limitless demon lord's cultivation was also the same. It was also the same as thousands of years ago. However, to kill the limitless fire spirit was actually not an easy task. Infinite divine fire clone, the limitless fire spirit roared. In the next moment, his body actually exploded. Countless flames rushed out in all directions. Still want to escape? The limitless demon lord sneered. With a flip of his right hand, a demonic tower immediately appeared in his hand. Absorb. The limitless demon lord did not hesitate and directly activated the demonic tower in his hand. Buzz. The demonic tower shook and directly rushed from the limitless demon lord's hand into the sky. In an instant, it became incomparably huge and covered the entire sky. In the next moment, an unimaginably powerful infinite prime-level devouring power exploded from within the demonic tower. The powerful devouring power that erupted from the Devil Pagoda instantly enveloped the entire world. Countless flames that rushed out in all directions were all enveloped by the devouring power of the Devil Pagoda, and then gathered towards the Devil Pagoda. The limitless fire spirit was actually sucked into the demonic tower that the limitless demon lord had summoned. And just as the limitless fire spirit was captured by the limitless demon lord, in the sky above the culmination snow mountain, the wind and clouds suddenly changed. The sun and moon lost their light. A ball of divine light broke through the void and rushed into the void world. I'm finally back. Chapter 5495. The limitless fire spirit was unlucky. It was actually sucked into the limitless demon tower. Of course, it was not easy for the limitless demon lord to kill the limitless fire spirit. Rumble, the limitless demon tower, which was bigger than a mountain, was shaking violently. Countless ancient demonic patterns appeared on the limitless demon tower. Each demonic pattern was releasing an extremely powerful demonic power. In the demon tower, a flame was rampaging inside, trying to break out of the demon tower. Still want to escape? Dream on. The limitless demon lord naturally would not let the limitless fire spirit go. He kept shooting demonic patterns at the demon tower. Those demonic patterns entered the demon tower. The powerful infinity-level power inside the demon tower was gradually suppressed. Just as the limitless demon lord captured the limitless fire spirit, the void above the sky above the culmination snow mountain suddenly shattered. A mass of divine light directly broke through the void and rushed out. A powerful wave of divine will immediately appeared between heaven and earth. I'm finally back. This wave of divine will directly enveloped the entire culmination snow mountain. A figure that seemed to have been sitting cross-legged on the culmination snow mountain since ancient times suddenly opened his eyes and looked up at the sky. His unchanging expression finally changed. How is this possible? Shui Yarrow was extremely shocked. Originally, with her current cultivation base, there was nothing in the entire void realm that could move her. But now, she was so shocked that her body trembled and she almost fell from the big rock she was sitting on. The moment the other unparalleled expert on the culmination snow mountain sensed the wave of divine will descending from the sky, he was also extremely shocked. Boom! With a loud sound, one of the snow-capped peaks on the culmination snow mountain directly exploded. Dust mixed with ice and snow soared into the sky, and a figure rushed out from the exploded snow-capped peak. The sudden loud sound shook heaven and earth. On the culmination snow mountain, there was a rumbling sound, and this sound was getting louder and louder. The entire culmination snow mountain was shaking. White torrents rushed down from all over the culmination snow mountain, shaking the heavens and the earth. This was a terrifying avalanche. The torrents of ice and snow gathered and destroyed everything in their path. The countless beings on the culmination snow mountain were terrified to the extreme. At this time, in the sky above the culmination snow mountain, it was as if another divine sun had appeared. That ball of divine light illuminated the world, and more than half of the powerful creatures in the culmination region could see that ball of divine light that had suddenly appeared in the sky. The powerful aura that erupted from the divine light quickly enveloped the entire Zhongtian region. Impossible! The limitless demon lord was holding the devil pagoda in his hand. He had just received the limitless fire spirit and was feeling proud of himself. However, the moment he sensed this aura, he was so shocked that he almost fell from the sky. That's impossible. No one has ever come back. How could he? The limitless demon lord was truly frightened. Originally, he was still ambitious and wanted to completely conquer the South barbarians and then kill all of Ji Yufei's disciples. But now, there was nothing he could do. Haha, Master is back. You're out of luck. The limitless fire spirit's gloating laughter came from the demon tower. Humph. So what if he's back? We were able to force him to step onto the teleportation platform that day, so we can send him away today. The limitless demon lord sneered. At this time, almost all the super experts in the void world knew that an amazing person had returned. Is that so? Then what are you afraid of? The limitless fire spirit mocked. Humph. The limitless demon lord sneered. In the next moment, he directly disappeared into the void. At this time, at the peak of the Zhongtian snow mountain, the divine light that illuminated the world was rapidly weakening. Several figures walked out from the divine light. It's really you? A voice of disbelief sounded. The incarnation of Sacred Master Void Sky appeared high in the sky and stared at the figure opposite him. This place doesn't seem to have changed much. A white-haired old man walked out. He took a deep breath and had a look of enjoyment on his face. I haven't smelled this in a long time. The old man sighed. What's that smell? Is it the stench of sweat? Ji Yufei was speechless. It's the smell of heaven and earth. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven had a helpless look on his face. This is your territory? Yang Wu was also very curious about this world. They didn't put Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation in their eyes at all. Ji Yufei originally thought that he would lose control of himself when he saw Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation and kill this person. However, when he returned to the Void World and killed Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation, he found that his heart was actually very calm. The same went for Yang Wu and Holy Master Chaotic Heaven. They were very calm. They even chose to ignore Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation. Behind Ji Yufei and the others stood a little girl. She was Hong Zui. Just as Ji Yufei and the others were about to teleport back to the Void World from the Flame Star, Hong Zui actually rushed onto the teleportation formation. This greatly surprised Ji Yufei and the others. Just like that, Hong Zui also arrived in the Void World. Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation was both shocked and angry. These people actually dared to ignore him. He didn't expect that Ji Yufei didn't return alone, but had brought 3 people with him. Moreover, what shocked Sacred Master Void Sky was that among the three people, the little girl's cultivation was at the extreme Tao level, while the old man and the masked woman in white were infinite primes. Jiyu Fei was also an infinite prime. 3 infinite primes appearing at the culmination Snow Mountain at the same time. What was going on? At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. Snow Yarrow had also arrived. Jiyu Fei, is it really you? Snow Yarrow looked at the familiar figure in disbelief. Who else could it be? Jiyu Fei's voice turned cold. Back then, it was these people who had teamed up to force him into a dead end. The teleportation formation in the ancestral land of the heavenly race was a teleportation formation of death. If it weren't for the fact that Jiyu Fei cultivated the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, his body and soul would have been destroyed long ago. A shocking murderous aura immediately erupted from Jiyu Fei's body when he thought of this. What do you want? Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation immediately went on guard. What do you think? Jiyu Fei didn't want to waste words with these people. He took a step forward and punched at Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation. Didn't he come back to settle the score with these people? You, Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation immediately retreated. However, even though he retreated quickly, Jiyu Fei's fist was faster. Bam! Chapter 5496. Jiyu Fei wanted to take revenge. He punched Sacred Master Void Sky's clone in the face, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Sacred Master Void Sky's clone screamed as he was sent flying 100 miles away. My nose! Sacred Master Void Sky's incarnation stretched out his hand and touched his face. To his surprise, there was blood all over his hand. His tall nose bridge had been smashed by Jiyu Fei's punch just now. His face looked like it had been dyed red. Haha, this feels good. Jiyu Fei laughed heartily. Right now, he was feeling extremely good. He could finally vent the anger in his chest. Back then, he was forced to step onto the teleportation array in the Heaven Race's ancestral land. He had been so sullen back then. Now, it was his turn to bully these detestable fellows. It hurts just looking at it. Sacred Master Chaotic Sky said gloatingly. Isn't Jiyu Fei a bit too much? As the saying goes, don't hit someone's face. Yang Wu laughed. Too much. I hope that Master can be 10 times, 100 times worse. Sacred Master Chaotic Sky stared at Sacred Master Void Sky's clone and gritted his teeth. He had been plotted against by Sacred Master Void Sky and imprisoned in the valley. Sacred Master Void Sky had sucked away his essence energy bit by bit. Sacred Master Chaotic Sky wanted to tear Sacred Master Void Sky's clone into 1,000 pieces when he thought of this. Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone wasn't an ethereal body, it was an existence with flesh and blood. He would still feel pain when Jiyu Fei punched him in the face. You're right. Jiyu Fei, you're being too polite to this fellow. This won't do. That won't do, Yang Wu said loudly to Jiyu Fei. Then I'll try not to be polite. Jiyu Fei said nonchalantly. You bastard. Sacred Master Void Sky's clone was both shocked and angry. Snow Yao, what are you waiting for? Sacred Master Void Sky's clone suddenly roared in the direction of Snow Yao. The moment Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone was punched by Jiyu Fei, he knew that he was no match for Jiyu Fei. Therefore, Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone immediately wanted to drag the Snow Demon down with him. After all, the Snow Demon had forced Jiyu Fei to step onto the teleportation array back then. Haha, all of you come at me together. Jiyu Fei laughed. His battle intent was like a rainbow. Right now, he could use these two fellows to practice his skills. A cold laugh rang out, and the Snow Demon who had been hiding on the side appeared. Little Shui, it's been so long. You've already become an infinite prime? Right at this moment, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven stood out. You are. The Snow Yarrow stared at Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven in shock. I am Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven said proudly. What? The Snow Demon and Sacred Master Void Sky's clones were extremely shocked upon hearing this. Senior brother, is it really you? How did this happen? Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone stared at Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven in shock. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was ambushed by Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven after they left the Void World. Therefore, Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone didn't know what had happened after they left the Void World. However, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's eyes turned red as he stared at Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. "Shut up. Who's your senior brother?" Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven roared at Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. "Senior brother, you." Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone jumped up in fright. She didn't expect her senior brother to have killing intent towards her. How was this possible? The two of them had grown up together, and their relationship was even closer than real brothers. However, Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone definitely didn't expect her main body to ambush her senior brother after leaving the Void World. Now, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was going to settle the score with Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. Your head." Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven charged forward and punched at Sacred Master Void Sky's clone embodiment. He also wanted to give this fellow a punch and beat this fellow's face into a pulp. However, although Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's thoughts were correct, the truth was that he didn't have Gu Fei's strength. Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone reached out with his right hand and grabbed Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's fist. "What?" Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was shocked. This fella was just a clone of Sacred Lord Void Sky. How could it be so strong? "Senior brother, are you crazy?" Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone swung his right hand and flung Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven away. "Am I crazy? I'm going to kill you." Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven roared and attacked Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone again. Chaotic Heaven strike. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven roared and used his hand as a blade to slash at Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. At this moment, Gu Fei retreated to the side. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven and Sacred Lord Void Sky had a huge grudge. Since they couldn't take revenge on Sacred Lord Void Sky's main body, they would settle the score with Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone first. It would be a good way to collect some interest. They had to find someone to vent their anger on. However, it was obvious that Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven couldn't even beat Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. Sacred Lord Void Sky's incarnation punched out and broke through Sacred Lord Turbid Heaven's full-powered attack. The violent fist force sent Sacred Lord Turbid Heaven flying. Boom! With a loud explosion, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven smashed a snowy peak in the distance into pieces. Gu Fei was speechless when he saw this. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was really miserable. He couldn't even beat Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone. Even Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven couldn't accept this reality. He was buried in ice and snow. Hong Zui, on the other hand, was stunned by the scene before her. This was a battle between peerless powers. She couldn't even withstand a trace of their aura. If it wasn't for Gu Fei's protection, she would have been killed. Senior brother, Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone didn't know what was happening. Snow Demon didn't dare to act rashly. Roar! An angry roar shook the mountains. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven shot into the sky. In the next moment, the entire culmination snow mountain shook. Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven shot into the sky and stood in the air. His body was glowing with divine light. Gu Fei suddenly sensed that there was a force in the culmination snow mountain that was resonating with Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. In the next moment, a ray of blood light shot out from the main peak of the culmination snow mountain. The crimson light shot up into the sky and collided with Holy Master Mixed Heaven's body. In an instant, it entered Holy Master Mixed Heaven's body and disappeared. "This is the drop of blood he left here?" Gu Fei stared at Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven. At this moment, Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven suddenly roared into the sky. An unimaginably powerful wave of energy erupted from his body. A terrifying energy storm suddenly appeared high up in the sky. The energy wave from the sky caused the culmination snow mountain to experience a second avalanche. Chapter 5497. There was a reason why Gu Fei and the others had teleported from the Flame Star to the culmination snow mountain in the Void Realm. This wasn't a random teleportation. It didn't mean that Gu Fei and the others would appear anywhere in the Void Realm. The reason why they appeared in the sky above the culmination snow mountain was because Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's drop of heartblood was on the culmination snow mountain. This was the backup plan that Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had left behind. Furthermore, even Sacred Lord Void Sky didn't know what Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven had left behind. When Holy Lord Void Sky and Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven had left the Void Realm, Holy Lord Void Sky had thought that his senior brother hadn't left anything behind. At this moment, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven withdrew the drop of heart blood that he had left behind countless years ago. His entire body shone with divine light, and an extremely terrifying power erupted from his body. Roar. Sensing the soaring power in his body, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven couldn't help but throw his head back and roar. Terrifying sound waves spread out, and ripples visible to the naked eye appeared in the air with Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven at the center. These ripples were like waves that spread in all directions. Without any suspense, another avalanche broke out on the culmination snow mountain. Rumble. The entire culmination snow mountain was shaking. The avalanche's momentum could only be described as earth-shattering. Gu Fei looked at Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven. This fellow's aura was soaring, and his vital energy fluctuations were growing stronger. After withdrawing the drop of heartblood, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's cultivation base had recovered to at least 60% of his peak. The consequence of withdrawing the drop of heartblood was that this fellow had directly become younger. Endless divine light was withdrawn into Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's body. The person who appeared in front of everyone was no longer the white-haired old man, but a middle-aged man with long, black hair. At this moment, Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's entire body was exuding an incomparably domineering aura. His aura was so domineering that it made people's hearts palpitate. Of course, Gu Fei wasn't affected by this fellow's aura at all. However, it was a different story for the others. This was especially true for Hong Zui, who had the lowest cultivation base among them. At this moment, she was hiding behind Gu Fei, trembling in fear. The difference between her cultivation base and Holy Lord Chaotic Heaven's was simply too great. Even the Snow Demon and Yang Wu stared at Holy Master Chaotic Heaven nervously. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven let out a long breath and stared at Sacred Master Void Sky's clone. Senior brother, when Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone sensed the stronger killing intent coming from Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's body, even he felt his heart tremble. Kill. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven roared without any hesitation. In the next moment, his figure disappeared from the void. When he reappeared, a fist had already arrived in front of Sacred Master Void Sky's clone embodiment. Be it strength or speed, they were no longer comparable to before. Swoosh. Sacred Lord Void Sky's clone tilted his body and dodged Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven's punch. Senior brother, are you crazy? Sacred Master Void Sky's clone was also angered by Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven. Am I crazy? I'm going to kill you. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven roared angrily and attacked. Countless fist shadows appeared in the void and smashed towards Sacred Master Void Sky's clone. Why? Sacred Master Void Sky's clone was extremely depressed. He also punched out. Their fists accurately collided, and a concentrated sound of impact could be heard. Why? Why do you ask? Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven turned his fist into a blade and used his hand as a blade to execute his famous killer move, Chaotic Sky 13 Slashes. This saber move was created by the Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven after countless years of practice. It was the strongest killing move of the Tao of the Blade, and only the Sacred Lord Chaotic Heaven was able to use the Tao of the Blade to the extreme. Buzz. When Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's saber aura appeared, the sound of a saber resonated in the void. A powerful saber aura erupted from his body, and the surrounding void seemed like it was about to be torn apart. When the saber was unleashed, heaven and earth were shocked. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven, who had recovered 60% of his cultivation, actually caused heaven and earth to lose color when he slashed out. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone could no longer remain calm when he saw Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's slash. This was because he was certain that his senior brother really wanted to kill him. This was because his senior brother had used his most powerful killer move. 10,000 techniques returned to origin. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone roared angrily. He waved his hands in front of him, and a powerful devouring power immediately surged out of his hands. A black hole appeared in the void in front of him and devoured everything around it. This was Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's killer move. The devouring power of this black hole could really devour everything. No matter how powerful the opponent was, they would still be devoured by the black hole. The sharp saber aura that slashed towards Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone was all devoured by the black hole in front of him. Even Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's hand was almost devoured by the black hole created by Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone. Second slash. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven immediately changed his move. In the next instant, an even stronger saber aura erupted from his hand. This slash was simple and direct. It was just a slash towards the clone's head. However, such a simple slash directly split open the terrifying black hole that could devour everything in front of Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone was shocked and immediately retreated. Swoosh. Although Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone dodged very quickly, the clothes on his left shoulder were still sliced open by Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's saber aura. Just a little bit more. Jiu Fei couldn't help but shake his head when he saw this. If Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's strength was just a little bit stronger, this slash would have directly chopped off the entire left arm of Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone. However, Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven could only slice open the clone's clothes. He wasn't even able to cut through the clone's skin. "Aren't you going to help him?" Yang Wu glanced at Jiu Fei and asked. "Why should I help? That's a personal grudge between them." Jiu Fei had no intention of helping. Personal grudge? Yang Wu was speechless. She actually didn't know that Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven had plotted against his senior brother. In fact, no one would have thought that Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven, who had grown up with him, would suddenly attack him. This was also why Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven hated Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven so much. At this moment, Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven directly unleashed his third slash. The instant he slashed out with his hand, the entire void was filled with saber shadows that covered the sky. Countless saber shadows instantly drowned Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone. Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's slash directly sealed off all paths of retreat for Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's clone. Even Jiu Fei was a little surprised when he saw Sacred Master Chaotic Heaven's slash.